Chapter 1653. One man and one beast flew into the sky one after another. As it continued to recover, the sharpness of the divine phoenix blade became more and more terrifying. Clang! Qin Feiyang's eyes were like lightning. With a wave of his hand, the divine phoenix blade pierced through the air like lightning and slashed fiercely on the fire dragon's body. A few dragon scales were shattered again. The divine phoenix blade sank into its flesh and blood flowed out. The fire dragon howled in pain. It suddenly turned around and glared at Qin Feiyang. Its eyes were burning with raging flames of fury. "Little bastard, do you really think that you can turn the situation around after stepping into the semi-divinity realm? Let me tell you, don't be too naive." Boom. Its aura also skyrocketed. In an instant, it rose to the semi-divinity realm. The divine phoenix blade was directly sent flying by its aura. "Bastard, shameless," Willow Tree cursed angrily. "There's nothing wrong with it. After all, we agreed from the beginning that its cultivation would be suppressed to the same level as Brother Qin. Now that Brother Qin has broken through to the semi-divinity realm, it should also raise its cultivation to the semi-divinity realm," Li Yun said. Ning Mingyi raised his eyebrows and said, "In that case, won't the young master lose his advantage? He has no advantage against the fire dragon in the first place. Even if he breaks through to the semi-divinity realm now, there is still a huge gap between his divine power and divine body. To put it bluntly, once the fire dragon goes crazy, it will immediately destroy everything, because now the cedar can no longer provide it with vitality." Li Yun said in a deep voice. "Wrong." Yu Huang said, "What's wrong?" Li Yun was suspicious. "Just wait and see. The fire dragon will definitely be the one defeated in the end." Yu Huang smiled coldly. Li Yun was stunned. He had so much confidence in Qin Feiyang. Back to the fire dragon. After its cultivation reached the semi-divinity realm, a wave of divine power immediately emerged from its body and rushed toward Qin Feiyang. The divine might emitted by the divine power was several times stronger than before. As its cultivation increased, the power of its divine power would also increase. However, Qin Feiyang's expression remained unchanged. Whoosh! He made a grabbing motion in the air, and the armor below flew up and automatically attached itself to his body. The battle character art was activated once again. Immediately after, he grabbed the divine phoenix blade and stepped into the air to meet the fire dragon's divine power. "No matter how many tricks you have, you won't be able to escape today." The fire dragon grinned. "Really?" Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. He raised his other arm and a golden light burst out. Return formula. He wanted to see how powerful the return formula would be after he broke through to the false god realm. Boom. In an instant, the golden light and the divine power collided. At this moment, even the heavens and earth lost their color. The next moment, under the shocked gaze of the fire dragon, the divine power was actually reflected back. How is this possible? Li Yun's face was also filled with shock. The return formula is a heaven-defying divine art. Previously, it couldn't reflect the fire dragon's divine power because Qin Feiyang's cultivation wasn't high enough. Now, with Qin Feiyang's breakthrough, the power of the return formula naturally manifested. Yu Huang said, "A heaven-defying divine art," Li Yun murmured. In the blink of an eye, the divine power turned in the air and pounced towards the fire dragon. The fire dragon was so shocked by this scene that it couldn't react for a long time. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang, the divine power instantly drowned it, and the dragon's scales shattered one after another. Dragon blood splattered and dyed the void red. "Little bastard, I swear I won't stop until I destroy your bones and scatter your ashes." The fire dragon roared and teleported. It appeared behind Qin Feiyang in an instant and smashed its huge tail at him. A large part of the void suddenly collapsed. "I'm afraid you don't have the ability now," Qin Feiyang sneered, holding the divine phoenix saber and slashing with it. The sharpness of the saber was overwhelming. Boom! The two collided. A few more dragon scales shattered. However, the fire dragon, who had raised his cultivation to the false god realm, was several times stronger than before. Qin Feiyang was also sent flying on the spot. The terrifying force even caused the skin on his arm to split open. An ant will always be an ant. Even if I give you a chance, you won't be able to turn things around. Long laughed wildly. He dragged his enormous body and, like a huge mountain, charged towards Qin Fei Yang to crush him. Even an ant can defy the heavens. Qin Fei Yang stabilized his body and roared. Purple gold dragon chi and flaming battle chi rolled out. The two god statues immediately appeared in the void above. They were both middle-aged men. One of them was holding a broken sword, as if he was the ruler of this world, displaying the domineering aura of a king. The other was holding a long spear, as if an emperor had descended to the world, looking down on the mountains and rivers as if everything was an ant in his eyes. That's right. It was the third move of the Divine Dragon Seal and the third move of the Fire Phoenix Art, the Emperor of all spirits. Clang! As soon as the two divine statues appeared, they waved the broken sword and the long spear at the same time and charged towards the fire dragon. Although the two peerless overlords were not real people, it was enough to make people tremble in fear. Roar! Immediately, the fire dragon let out a miserable howl, and a 3 feet long and half a meter deep wound appeared on its giant tail. Blood poured out like a waterfall. However, the two deity arts also shattered with the sound. Qin Fei Yang also suffered a considerable backlash, and purple gold dragon blood kept spurting out. However, compared to the fire dragon's injuries, his injuries were nothing. Sigh. Looking at this scene, Qin Fei Yang shook his head and sighed. The difference between a false god and a war god was still very big. Although the fire dragon suppressed its cultivation, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to destroy its divine body. If it was a false god, it would be able to kill it instantly. However, the fire dragon flew into a rage out of humiliation. Boom! A blazing sun rose into the sky, shining with divine light. A dragon shadow roared in the blazing sun, its divine power surging, shaking the heavens and the earth. Not good. It also used a divine art. The willow tree's expression changed. So what if it's a divine art? Qin Fei Yang gathered his thoughts, and his aura was like a rainbow. A wave of fire rolled out, surging into the sky. The sky instantly turned into a sea of fire. The divine power roared, and the sky trembled, crazily colliding with the divine power of the blazing sun. What kind of divine art is this? I've never seen it before. The willow tree was shocked. Yeah, I've never seen it before either. Yu Huang said. Roar. In the blazing sun, the dragon shadow roared out. Chirp. At the same time, accompanied by a high-pitched phoenix cry, a divine phoenix flapped its huge wings and flew out of the sea of fire. The divine phoenix's body was thousands of feet long. When it spread its wings, it covered the sky, and its divine power was boundless. Divine phoenix? Could this be the fourth style of the fire phoenix technique? The willow tree murmured. Kill. Qin Fei Yang and the fire dragon roared at almost the same time, their killing intent soaring into the sky. The dragon shadow roared in the sky. The divine phoenix's flames were torrential. The two divine beasts suddenly fought in the sky, and the sky was dark. Chirp. More than 10 breaths later, with a wail, the divine phoenix disintegrated. Divine power, false god power. Qin Fei Yang raised his eyebrows. He could feel that the fire dragon's divine art was not comparable to the fire phoenix technique at all. But in the end, the fire dragon's divine art had the upper hand. This was the difference between divine power and false god power. The fire phoenix technique was evolved from the false god power. The fire dragon's divine art was evolved from divine power. Although the fire dragon's divine art was not comparable to the fire phoenix technique, because of divine power, it had the upper hand. Ant, do you believe me now? No matter how many tricks you have, they are useless in front of me. Go to hell for me. The fire dragon laughed. The dragon shadow suddenly swooped down, roaring towards Qin Fei Yang. It's not over yet. What are you in a hurry for? Qin Fei Yang snorted from his nose. Before his voice faded. Chirp. Accompanied by a phoenix cry, another divine phoenix rushed out of the sea of fire and pounced towards the dragon shadow. What's going on? The fire dragon was bewildered. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. This is the ultimate mystery of the fire phoenix technique. Rebirth from fire. Rebirth from fire? Doesn't that mean that this divine phoenix will continue to be reborn? Li Yun was bewildered. That should be the case. Willow Tree nodded. Li Yun said in shock. Then Brother Qin is now in an invincible position? Li Yun's voice fell into the fire dragon's ears. The fire dragon immediately laughed and said, "What invincible position? Once a person dies, no matter how powerful the divine art is, it will disappear." Finished. It opened its mouth wide. A dragon's breath surged out of its mouth like a torrent, drowning the sky and rushing towards Qin Feiyang. This was also one of the divine dragon's trump cards, comparable to a divine art. Wherever the dragon's breath passed, the void shattered, and a terrifying aura rolled in all directions. Then let's see who will die in the end. Qin Feiyang's eyes became colder and colder. The return formula reappeared. The golden light was dazzling, illuminating heaven and earth. Compared to the divine dragon technique and the fire phoenix technique, the six-word divine art was the real heaven-defying divine art. Boom. In just a moment, the golden light collided with the dragon's breath. With a deafening sound, the two were annihilated at the same time in the void. To be able to fight on par with the dragon's breath, this return formula is indeed heaven-defying. Ningmingi was secretly speechless. Chirp. High up in the sky, the divine phoenix wailed and dissipated again. But in the next moment, another divine phoenix roared out from the sea of fire. Looking at the fire phoenix that was constantly being reborn, the fire dragon's expression became extremely gloomy. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's voice sounded and said, "I've played with you for so long, it's time to end it." In his words, there was a shocking, killing intent. End? The fire dragon was stunned, lowered his head to look at Qin Feiyang, and mocked, "Are you joking? The one who should end the battle is me, not you, understand? Then let's wait and see." Qin Feiyang smiled and put away the divine phoenix blade. Why did he put away the divine phoenix blade? Willow Tree and the others were bewildered. Swish! In the next moment, under their shocked gazes, they saw that Qin Feiyang had appeared one after another beside Qin Feiyang. Finally, standing in the void above, there were as many as 101 Qin Feiyang. Hualong was also shocked by this sudden turn of events. Every Qin Feiyang was exactly the same, and their cultivation had all reached the false god realm. What the hell is this? Clones? The fire dragon raised his eyebrows. His divine power surged, carrying with it an apocalyptic aura, and pounced towards the 101 Qin Feiyang. 4 moves of the ruins of the end. At the same time, 101 Qin Feiyangs shouted in unison. Boom! Invisible forces emerged, and a terrifying destructive force erupted in an instant, shaking heaven and earth. What's going on? The aura strength of these divine arts is actually the same? Chapter 1654. As pseudo-gods, of course they knew about clones. Clones were usually condensed from god power, pseudo-god power, or battle chi. Therefore, generally speaking, clones, be it strength or methods, were weaker than the original body. But now, Qin Feiyang's clones, be it methods or aura, were exactly the same as Qin Feiyang's original body. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they would even think that these were Qin Feiyang's twin brothers. The fire dragon was also extremely shocked. What kind of heaven-defying divine art was this? Kill! Qin Feiyang and 100 clones raised their arms and pointed at the fire dragon. The invisible force roaring above their heads turned into a huge wave and rolled towards the fire dragon. Good. Let me see how heaven-defying your methods are. The fire dragon roared. It opened its mouth and spat out a dragon breath, pouncing on the invisible force. Boom. Both of them were aggressive, like comets streaking across the sky and fiercely colliding with each other. This time, it was no longer a stalemate. The invisible force crushed over, and the dragon breath was instantly annihilated. Immediately after, the invisible force pounced on the fire dragon. Roar! The fire dragon's scream suddenly resounded through the sky. The fire dragon, who was drowned by the invisible force, had its dragon scales shattered. Its skin and flesh were torn open, and its flesh and blood flew everywhere. Amazing, Li Yun murmured. How is it? I was right. The fire dragon will be defeated sooner or later, Yu Huang said proudly. Li Yun glanced at it, then looked at Qin Feiyong and the fire dragon again and said, although Brother Qin has turned the situation around, you can't let your guard down? What are you trying to say? Willow Tree and the others looked at him suspiciously. Don't forget the fire dragon's true cultivation. Don't believe the fire dragon's promises so easily. I'm sure that when its life is at stake, it will not hesitate to use its full strength. Li Yun thought to herself, you mean, it doesn't suppress its cultivation? Yu Huang said, yes. We have to be vigilant, just in case. Wait, I have a plan that might be able to eliminate the fire dragon in one fell swoop. Li Yun said, what? Willow Tree asked. Li Yun muttered a few words to himself. Willow Tree, Ning Mingi. Yu Huang's eyes lit up when he heard this. He nodded and said, let's do that. The next moment, Li Yun disappeared with Willow Tree and the others. Qin Feiyong also noticed their disappearance, but he didn't pay attention to it, because he didn't need to think to know that he must have gone to the spatial divine item. His gaze was definitely locked onto the fire dragon. At this moment, the fire dragon's entire body was a mess of flesh and blood. Its dragon scales were also in pieces. A trace of weakness finally crept up in its huge pupils, but it was more anger. It stared at Qin Feiyong, its eyes like a blade, and said word by word, little bastard, you have to pay the price for your stupid actions. Divine power surged, and 9 fire dragons appeared out of nowhere. Each fire dragon was more than 10,000 feet long, like majestic mountain ridges, hovering above its head, and the dragon's power shook the sky. 9 dragons killing array. As it roared, the 9 fire dragons connected head to tail, forming a pentagram pattern. Boom! In an instant, a destructive aura burst out from his body. What kind of divine art is this? What a terrifying aura! In the spatial divine item, Willow Tree and the others trembled physically and mentally, and a feeling that came from the depths of their souls emerged uncontrollably. And behind them, there were more than 100 people. They were the fake gods of the Vanga League and the Vanga League. The leader of the 7 evils, Chuili, was also there. Looking at the pentagram, their faces were filled with horror. Little bastard, wake up! The fire dragon roared. The pentagram formed by the 9 fire dragons suddenly fell, and the void within 10,000 miles was instantly shattered, turning into nothingness. The one who should wake up is you, the Emperor of 9 and 5, the Emperor of all spirits. 101 Qin Feiyong roared. Rumble in the sky. A gale suddenly rose, and purple-gold clouds surged from the horizon. Following a series of deafening claps of thunder, 202 statues appeared in the sky. That divine power roared in all directions. The sky, the void, and the desert all trembled violently. If God blocks, kill God. If devil blocks, kill devil. Kill! Qin Feiyong roared into the sky. The 202 statues raised their broken swords and spears at the same time and attacked the pentagram. Rumble! A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering sound suddenly exploded in this place. Lu Mu and the others were spurting blood from their ears. Crack! The pentagram shattered on the spot. The fire dragon spat out a mouthful of dragon blood. Its body trembled, and its eyes were filled with disbelief. The 9 dragons killing formation was its strongest move, but it couldn't stop Qin Feiyong. Just as it was distracted, the 202 statues arrived in front of it, and the sharpness of the spears and broken swords tore through the sky. The fire dragon quivered and hurriedly performed teleportation, fleeing through the air. Roar! But if it didn't escape unscathed, accompanied by a heart-wrenching cry, a dragon tail more than 10 meters long fell from the sky. Willow Tree, Yu Huang, when the battle is over, I'll treat you to dragon meat. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong laughed out loud and instantly rushed to the front of the dragon tail and slapped it with his palm. The dragon tail immediately flew towards the place where Willow Tree and the others disappeared. Dragon meat. Inside the spatial divine object, their eyes lit up. Willow Tree urged, Li Yun, hurry. Li Yun immediately left the spatial divine object, grabbed the giant tail, and returned to the spatial divine object. At the same time, the fire dragon appeared in the sky a few miles away. Blood flowed out of the wound. Looking at the dragon tail that was taken away by Li Yun, its entire body was trembling, but it wasn't fear. It was anger. Shua. All of a sudden, it looked at Qin Feiyang, its eyes flashing with strong killing intent. Haha, following closely. It actually raised its head and laughed wildly. Is it crazy? Inside the spatial divine object, Willow Tree and the others looked at each other. Laugh all you want, because this might be the last time you'll laugh in your life. Qin Feiyang stood against the wind and waved his hand fiercely. 100 incarnations also waved their hands at the same time. The 202 god statues wielded broken swords and long spears. Like a powerful army of war gods, they charged toward the fire dragon with vigor. The last time you laugh? Ha ha, kid. You're too naive, too laughable, too childish, too ignorant, too stupid. Now, I'll send you to hell to reunite with Qin Batian. Boom. A monstrous divine might rushed out from the fire dragon's body. Its cultivation instantly broke through the bottleneck of the false god and stepped into the war god realm. Don't forget our promise. Qin Feiyang was shocked and said angrily, What bullshit promise? Do you think I care? Fire Dragon laughed loudly, divine power covering the sky and earth, sweeping through the sky. Crack. Boom. The 202 god statues shattered one after another. At the same time, above, the dragon figure's aura also surged and instantly tore the divine phoenix apart. Then, it rushed into the sea of fire. The entire sea of fire was instantly annihilated and turned into nothingness. Puff. Qin Feiyang spat out blood from his mouth. His body kept retreating, and his face was pale. As expected of a beast, you don't even have the slightest bit of integrity. He roared angrily and retreated like lightning. Clang. But at the same time as he retreated, the void in front of him suddenly exploded with a heaven-shaking bang. Then, a sharp aura that could tear the sky and earth apart appeared. Willow Tree and the others appeared with Chang Shui, Chui Li, and more than 100 false gods of the Vanga League and the Fengtian Palace also appeared with them. And Chang Shui was currently in a state of awakening. I see. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. It turned out that Willow Tree and the others entered the spatial divine item to secretly awaken Chang Shui. You went back on your words, damn it. Willow Tree roared. Clang. Blue snow immediately flew out of his hand, turning into a streak of light that slashed towards Huolong's divine power. Boom. The divine power disintegrated like dead wood. Chang Shui went straight for the fire dragon. Everything happened too quickly and too suddenly. The fire dragon had no time to react at all, his eyes filled with fear. Just as the fire dragon was about to die at the hands of Chang Shui, rule power suddenly descended from the sky and blasted toward Chang Shui. Clang. Chang Shui was immediately sent flying. The fire dragon also came back to its senses and immediately used teleportation to fly up into the sky. Damn Guardian! Willow Tree roared and controlled Chang Shui to fly into the sky. Like an arrow, it pierced through the fire dragon's abdomen. Roar! The fire dragon let out a miserable howl as his sea of chi shattered on the spot. Just as the fire dragon fell in despair, the rule power appeared again and swept up the fire dragon and disappeared without a trace. Willow Tree glared at the sky and roared, Bastard! Come out and fight if you have the guts. What's the point of hiding in the dark? That's right. You're a guardian after all. Don't you find it embarrassing? Ning Mingi and the others also cursed angrily. Qin Feiyang also had an angry look on his face. You guys are really arrogant. Suddenly, a mocking voice spread in the sky. Whoosh! Then, a golden stream of light descended like lightning and appeared in the void in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. It was the golden small beast. There was no aura on it at all. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at the small beast and didn't feel the slightest sense of danger. Whoosh! Two more streams of light descended from the sky. It was the guardian python and the fire dragon. The two beasts landed behind the golden small beast and glanced at Qin Feiyang and the others with eyes full of ridicule. Did you guys notice that they are very respectful to this small beast? Willow Tree was surprised. Yes, everyone secretly responded. Qin Feiyang glanced at the giant python and the fire dragon, then looked at the golden small beast and said, "Are you the creator of the miracle?" Creator? The small beast was stunned and said playfully, "Do you think I am? Don't talk nonsense with it. Just attack." Willow Tree shouted and controlled Chang Shui to attack the small beast. Seeing this scene, the giant python and the fire dragon's eyes were even more mocking. "Young man, don't be too impulsive." The small beast smiled faintly. It didn't seem to make any movements, but an invisible force emerged out of thin air. The next moment, Chang Shui stopped in the void, motionless. How is this possible? Willow Tree and the others were shocked. Qin Feiyang was also dumbfounded. He looked at the small beast in shock and said with difficulty, "The power of law, time stop." Not bad, you have a good eye. Chapter 1655. What? The power of law? Lu Mu and the others trembled as they looked at the little golden beast. They couldn't help but tremble. What kind of existence is this? It has mastered the power of law. Qin Feiyang's pupils also constricted. Although he had seen through it, he was still surprised when he heard the small beast admit it. Suddenly, the small beast waved its paw and Chang Shui floated to it. "What do you want?" Seeing this, Qin Feiyang looked at the small beast in shock and anger. But the small beast turned a deaf ear to him. It reached out its paw, grabbed Chang Shui, and looked at it up and down. What's going on? Chang Shui didn't resist. Even Chang Shui is afraid of it. Willow Tree and the others were shocked. Qin Feiyang's face was gloomy and he shouted, "Chang Shui, come back." Boom. All of a sudden, the small beast waved its paw and a terrifying power rushed toward Qin Feiyang and the others. "Bastard, give me back Chang Shui." Qin Feiyang roared and his power burst out. Willow Tree and the others also released their power, which intertwined with Qin Feiyang's power and blasted toward the small beast. Boom, accompanied by a loud noise. Qin Feiyang's group of over 100 fake divinities were like withered trees before the little beast's divine might. They were unable to withstand a single blow and were instantly disintegrated. It's so scary. It's countless times more powerful than the Guardian. Everyone's body and mind trembled. Boom. Then, the little beast's divine might blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Puff. Qin Feiyang and the others were blown away on the spot, blood gushing out of their mouths. "Before I say anything, whoever dares to say another word will be killed without mercy." Small Beast glanced at Qin Feiyang's group and said coldly. Then, he lowered his head and continued to size up Chang Shui. Qin Feiyang steadied himself, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and stared at Small Beast, his eyes flashing with a shocking coldness. Willow Tree and the others stood behind Qin Feiyang, keeping quiet out of fear. After a long time, Small Beast chuckled. "Not bad, not bad. This dagger is indeed a heaven-defying artifact." Qin Feiyang said, "Can you give it back to me now? Return it to you? You can't be that naive." Small Beast laughed mockingly. Qin Feiyang's heart sank as he said, "State your conditions. As long as you return Chang Shui to me, I'll do anything." I'll do anything? It seems like this dagger is extraordinarily important to you. In that case, I can't return it to you. Small Beast teased. Qin Feiyang clenched his fists, making cracking sounds. "How about this? I can return it to you, but you hurt my men. I can't just let it go. Make your move now. Kill all the people behind you, and I'll give you the dagger." Small Beast said. Willow Tree and the others' eyes were suddenly filled with anger. Qin Feiyang turned his head and glanced at Willow Tree and the others. Then, he looked back at Small Beast and said word by word, "Impossible." Small Beast laughed. "I knew you would say that. Since you can't bear to do it, let me do it for you." Swish. Suddenly, the little golden beast's shadow disappeared. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. He immediately waved his hand, and the castle floating next to Shui Song and the inner demons broke through the air and disappeared between his eyebrows. He immediately sent Willow Tree and the others to the castle. Humph! Small Beast appeared behind Qin Feiyang and snorted discontentedly. A supreme power emerged. Willow Tree and the others who were sent to the castle were actually captured by it. Even White-Eyed Wolf, Lu Hong, and the others were also captured. How is this possible? Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Small Beast released its pressure and firmly imprisoned everyone in the void. It looked at Qin Feiyang and joked, "You think you'll be fine after sending them to the castle? You're so silly that it's cute. What do you want to do?" Qin Feiyang roared. "What do I want to do?" Small Beast chuckled, and its pressure rose crazily. White-Eyed Wolf, Lu Hong, and the others who were imprisoned in the void suddenly howled in pain. Qin Feiyang saw this and roared, "Let them go. I don't want Chang Shui anymore." "Sorry, it's too late." Small Beast smiled coldly, and a terrifying divine power emerged. In an instant, White-Eyed Wolf, Lu Hong, and the others were all shattered, turning into a bloody mist, rolling in the void. They didn't even scream. No. Qin Feiyang suddenly gritted his teeth. Boom. His eyes and long hair were instantly blood red. "Bastard, I'll kill you." He let out a hysterical roar, and his 3,000 incarnations, the sovereign of 9 and 5, the emperor of all spirits, all appeared and charged toward the little beast in a frenzy. "You dare to act rashly with your little strength?" Small Beast smiled disdainfully, raised its little paw, and pointed in the air. A golden divine light flashed across the sky like lightning, instantly shattering all the statues and incarnations, and entered Qin Feiyang's chest. His heart was shattered on the spot, and half of his chest was gone. Then, Qin Feiyang fell powerlessly into the desert below. Purple gold dragon blood surged out, dyeing the surrounding yellow sand red. "Why? What did they do wrong? It's obviously you who are wrong. You created the cage called the Black Tortoise World. Is it wrong for them to resist? Why should you kill them? So cruel. You bastards, aren't you afraid of being punished by the heavens?" Qin Feiyang climbed up in a sorry state and glared at Small Beast, the fire dragon, and the giant python, and roared crazily. The fire dragon and the giant python's eyes were full of mockery. Small Beast was shrouded in golden light, and its expression couldn't be seen, but its words were filled with endless coldness. "There was once a world countless times bigger than a miracle, and I could swallow it in one gulp. Do you think I'm afraid of the so-called punishment of the heavens? Swallow a great world." Qin Feiyang's body and mind trembled. What kind of existence was this? "So be it. You hurt the fire dragon, and I killed your people, so we're even. As for this dagger, I like it very much, so I'll take it." Small Beast joked. The giant python hurriedly said, "Sir, what about the inner demons and the cedars? Aren't we going to get rid of them together?" The inner demons not far away suddenly had a look of surprise in their eyes. "Where it's possible to let people off, we should spare them. We can't kill them all. In short, we have to win people over with virtue. We can't use violence. Don't you agree?" Small Beast said. The giant python and the fire dragon looked at each other, speechless. They had already killed everyone around Qin Feiyang. How could they win people over with virtue? Shameless. But they didn't dare to say this out loud. "Boy, if you want to take revenge, come to the 3rd floor. I'll be waiting. But the prerequisite is that you have to have the strength to defeat me." Small Beast looked down at Qin Feiyang, said contemptuously, then waved its claws, and disappeared with the fire dragon and the giant python. "Ah!" Qin Feiyang roared to the sky, his blood-red eyes full of anger and killing intent. After a long time, he helplessly lowered his head and glanced at the empty void and desert. They were all dead. He was the only one left. He was like a helpless child, slowly lying on the yellow sand, crying bitterly. He had never been so desperate. Even when he was expelled from the imperial capital, it couldn't compare to the pain of losing his companions and friends at this moment. Sigh. Inner Demon sighed deeply, walked in front of Qin Feiyang, and said, "See, not everyone is as kind as you. In today's world, if you want to achieve great things, you have to be ruthless enough. Tens of thousands of cedar trees also flew in front of Qin Feiyang, shaking their withered branches and leaves, as if comforting Qin Feiyang. At the same time, they also released what little vitality they had left, pouring into Qin Feiyang's body, repairing Qin Feiyang's heart. Qin Feiyang looked up at the cedar trees and inner demons, then lowered his head, like a stone statue, sitting on the ground, not saying a word. Swish. Soon, Zhuge Mingyang also appeared from the space divine item, looking at Qin Feiyang with a trace of sympathy in his eyes. But more than that, he was gloating. Boom. He released his divine thoughts, scanning the void and said, Li Yun's space divine item is also gone. It seems that Ning Yifeng, Li Chong, and the others are also dead. Qin Feiyang said angrily, Isn't this what you want? Yes, this is what I want. Not only that, I'm going to kill you. Zhuge Mingyang's eyes flashed with killing intent. Swish! As soon as he said that, tens of thousands of cedar trees immediately moved, like an iron bucket, protecting Qin Feiyang. Seeing this, Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, It's hard not to be jealous of you. Haven't you heard of this saying? There are gains and losses. Although I am kind, at the same time, it is easier for me to gain the trust of everyone, including these cedar trees. And you are cruel and merciless. Who is willing to believe you? Inner demons snorted coldly. Even so, what's the use? Aren't they all dead? Even your best partners, White-Eyed Wolf, Fatso, Lu Hong, and the others are all dead. Don't you think it's funny? Zhuge Mingyang joked. You! Inner demons glared at him. Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up, his eyes flashing with a touch of determination, and said, No, they won't die. Zhuge Mingyang was stunned and said sarcastically, Are you stupid? Look at them yourself. They have all turned into blood mist, and the blood mist is still rolling in the air. But inner demons, hearing Qin Feiyang's words, suddenly trembled and stared at Qin Feiyang in shock. Qin Feiyang looked at inner demons and said, Immediately collect the blood mist. I don't agree. Inner demons said angrily, Without them, what's the point of me living alone? If you don't agree, I will die in front of you. If I die, you won't be able to live either. Qin Feiyang shouted, Why are you so stupid? Inner demons roared angrily, Stupid people have stupid luck. Don't you know? Qin Feiyang laughed. I really admire you. Inner demons stared at Qin Feiyang, waved his hand, and the blood mist rolling in the air suddenly turned into a waterfall, condensing in front of him. Following closely, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and brought Shui Song, inner demons, and the blood mist into the castle. Idiot! Zhuge Mingyang sneered. In his opinion, Qin Feiyang must have been stimulated, and his brain must be damaged. Otherwise, why would he say such stupid words? Chapter 1656. Inside the castle. In the entire castle, other than the Iron Book, the Pill Scripture, the Nether Devil Flame, and Dan Wangcai's Pill Furnace, there was no one else. Originally, this place was so lively. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply and shouted, Ling Yunfei, come out. Previously, he only saw Fatso and the others, but did not see Ling Yunfei, Luo Qingzhu, the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, or Li Jian. So, Ling Yunfei and the others were definitely fine. But after a long while, Ling Yunfei still did not appear. Qin Feiyang took out the image crystal and sent a message to Ling Yunfei. Finally, Ling Yunfei's figure appeared and frowned. What are you doing? I'm currently comprehending the profound mysteries of becoming a god. Can you not disturb me if there's nothing else? Fatso and the others are all dead. Qin Feiyang said. Ugh. Ling Yunfei was startled. He rolled his eyes and said, Don't joke around. Qin Feiyang said angrily, Who was in the mood to joke with you? Come out immediately and take me to your spatial divine object. Ling Yunfei was shocked. He suddenly stood up and said, Really? Qin Feiyang nodded. Damn it. Ling Yunfei cursed angrily. In the next moment, he brought the image crystal and appeared in the castle. Looking at the empty castle, His face immediately darkened. Then, he looked at Qin Feiyang and the inner demons and asked, "What's going on?" Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, "Let's go in first." Ling Yunfei waved his hand and brought Qin Feiyang, the inner demons, Shuesong, and the blood mist to immediately appear above the medicine field. Luo Qingzhu, the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, had always been with Ling Yunfei, so she was also awakened by Qin Feiyang's voice. At this moment, seeing Qin Feiyang appear, the two of them immediately went up to greet him, their faces full of surprise. "Where is Li Jian?" Qin Feiyang asked. Ling Yunfei closed his eyes and sensed for a moment. Then he opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, "He is cultivating on a mountain peak. It's good that you're okay." Qin Feiyang breathed a sigh of relief. "Feiyang, what's going on? And your cultivation? I can't see through it. Have you already broken through to the semi-divinity realm?" The Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young miss said as she looked at Qin Feiyang. "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "He really broke through?" The three of them looked at each other. Ling Yunfei said, "Wait, since you've already broken through, how did Fatso and the others die? Besides, there's also Chang Shui and the castle." "Ask the inner demons," Qin Feiyang said as he scanned his surroundings. Not far away, he saw a large blue stone. Then, he brought the blood mist with him and walked towards the blue stone. Sigh. Looking at Qin Feiyang's back, the inner demon sighed deeply, turned his head to look at Ling Yunfei and the others, and began to tell them what had happened before. At the same time, Qin Feiyang sat cross-legged on the blue stone, looked at the blood mist floating in front of him and muttered, "Don't worry, I definitely won't let you die." With that, he closed his eyes. A moment later, the inner demons finally finished speaking. Ling Yunfei and the other two's faces were also filled with anger. They never would have thought that so many things would happen outside in such a short period of time. Even Chang Shui had been snatched away. The three of them turned their heads to look at Qin Feiyang, their eyes filled with unbearable pain. Not to mention Willow Tree and the others, people like White-Eyed Wolf, Fatso, and Lu Hong were all Qin Feiyang's most cherished companions, friends, and family. One could imagine how big of a blow it would be to him if they all died at once. Luo Qingzhu sighed. "Let's not disturb him. Let him calm down by himself." The inner demon said, "He's not calming down. He's trying to save Fatso and the others." "What? Save Fatso and the others? Wait, aren't they dead? How?" Ling Yunfei was bewildered. The inner demons was about to speak when the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House sighed and said, "The fourth move of the Divine Dragon Technique can save everyone." How do you know?" The inner demons raised his eyebrows. The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House did not say anything. She looked at Qin Feiyang with a trace of pity in her eyes. "The fourth move of the Divine Dragon Technique? What are you talking about?" Ling Yunfei and Luo Qingzhu looked at the two of them suspiciously. The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House said, "Emperor Qin is kind-hearted and cares about the common people. Therefore, when he created the Divine Dragon Technique, he created a heaven-defying technique that can save the common people." "It's the fourth move?" Ling Yunfei asked. "Yes. The fourth move is called Gate of Rebirth, and the fourth move is divided into 4 realms. Initial, small success, major success, and perfection. Initial can save 1,000 people. Small success can save 10,000 people. Major success can save 1,000,000 people. Reaching the perfection stage can save billions of people. Feiyang should still be at the initial stage. Although it's initial stage, as long as there's a little bit of blood left in the dead, he can be saved. But at the same time, he will pay a heavy price." The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House said, "What price?" Ling Yunfei asked. The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House said, "The fourth move is to sacrifice oneself in exchange for the rebirth of others. The price to pay for each realm is different. The price to pay for the initial stage is to lose one's cultivation." The inner demons added, "And it's a complete loss. No divine pill can save it." "What?" Ling Yunfei's body trembled. It turned out that this was the reason why Qin Feiyang had not used the fourth move. He hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang and said angrily, "I won't allow you to do this." The inner demons waved his hand and said, Forget it. I've already objected to it outside. It's useless. Luo Qingzhu also hurriedly advised, Fei Yong, you really have to think about it. This price is not something you can bear. That's right. It wasn't easy for you to cultivate to this step. If you lose everything just because you save them, then wouldn't your previous efforts be in vain? Actually, we all know that to you. Losing your cultivation is even more painful than death, because you have already tasted the feeling of losing your cultivation. Listen to our advice, and don't do anything stupid. I believe that Fatso and the others will not allow you to do this if they know about it. The mists of the Dragon Phoenix House also tried her best to persuade him. However, Qin Feiyong did not seem to hear it and did not open his eyes. Ling Yunfei said angrily, Stupid, stupid, I don't care. In any case, I'm just the inner demons. He's the main body. He can do whatever he wants. The inner demons said in a fit of anger. A moment later, Qin Feiyong finally opened his eyes and swept his gaze over them. The purple gold dragon aura suddenly burst out of his body. Are you really going to do this? Ling Yunfei said angrily. Qin Feiyong said, I've already lost enough in this life. I can't lose everyone again. If the ones who died today were you guys, I would do the same. As soon as he finished, the purple gold dragon aura soared into the sky. Purple gold clouds quickly appeared in the entire sky of the spatial divine object. Sigh. The inner demon sighed and silently retreated to the side. Ling Yunfei and the other two looked at each other and silently retreated with a heart full of helplessness. Boom. Crack. Between the clouds, the sound of thunder gradually became louder and lightning roared. Roar. A purple gold divine dragon was faintly discernible in the clouds, emitting a great dragon's might. Soon, a second, third, and fourth purple gold divine dragon appeared. They would occasionally fly out from the clouds, revealing their huge bodies. Each of them was more than 10,000 feet long, covering the sky and the sun. About half an hour passed. A total of 99 purple gold divine dragons appeared in the sky. They danced in the clouds and hovered in the sky. Every dragon scale on their bodies emitted a dazzling purple gold divine light, and a mighty dragon's might enveloped the world. 99 purple gold divine dragons. What a spectacular scene! Such a scene was rare in one's life. Ling Yunfei and the others looked at the sky and were deeply shocked by this scene. Roar! Suddenly, the 99 purple gold divine dragons roared at the sky in unison. Then, they gathered together. The dragon heads faced the sky, and the dragon heads faced the ground. From afar, they looked like pillars of divine metal, standing between heaven and earth and shining with purple gold divine light in all directions. With my will, I seize the creation of heaven and earth. With my body, I seize the origin of the world. Gate of rebirth appear. Qin Feiyong suddenly stood up and roared at the sky, his long hair fluttering in the wind. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed into a ruler who controlled heaven and earth, and a monstrous domineering aura was released from his body. Roar! The 99 purple gold divine dragons roared at the same time. Clang! In the next moment, accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, a huge stone door appeared above the heads of the 99 purple gold divine dragons. The stone door was 999 feet tall and was emitting a dazzling purple gold divine light. It was engraved with the earth, mountains, rivers, and all living things. Every pattern was as if it was a work of nature and was incomparably real. One could even see the ferocious beasts roaring inside and the humans struggling to survive inside. Just as the Gate of Rebirth appeared, Qin Feiyong's cultivation level dropped rapidly. Peak 9-star Combat Emperor Realm, 9-star Combat Emperor, 8-star Combat Emperor, 7-star Combat Emperor, 6-star Combat Emperor. However, Qin Feiyong didn't seem to feel anything. He looked at the Gate of Rebirth and muttered, as long as I can exchange for everyone, so what if I lose my cultivation level? He waved his hand and the blood mist floating in front of him suddenly turned into a waterfall and rushed into the sky and into the Gate of Rebirth. His cultivation level was still dropping. At the same time, in a certain place, there were medicinal herbs all over the ground. Both those he had seen and those he had never seen before were all here. They were all medicinal herbs that were tens of thousands of years old, hundreds of thousands of years old, and even millions of years old. The medicinal fragrance was rich and the light was overflowing. The heaven and earth were filled with essence that couldn't be dispersed. In the middle of the medicinal herb field, there was a divine tree that reached the sky. But the strange thing was, there was not even a single branch on the sacred tree. Green leaves grew on the trunk like precious jade, sparkling and translucent. At the peak of the divine tree, a beautiful woman sat cross-legged with a guqin on her lap. Her black hair was like a waterfall, and she wore a snow-white dress. Her jade-like fingers kept plucking the strings of the guqin, producing a beautiful and pleasant sound. Beside her sat a young man. He was 7 feet tall, and his body was thin. His long hair was as white as snow. Although he looked very young, the space between his brows was filled with the feeling of having experienced the vicissitudes of life. In his hand, there was a wine pot. He tasted the wine while looking at the woman. When he heard the sound of the guqin, his handsome face was filled with love for the woman. Chapter 1657. But suddenly, the white-haired young man seemed to have sensed something. He raised his hand and pointed in the air. An image suddenly appeared in the void in front of him. In the image, 99 purple gold divine dragons were holding a huge stone door. A terrifying dragon aura shrouded the world. Below, a young man in white stood on a piece of blue stone and stared at the stone door intently. That's right. This person was Qin Feiyang. The woman stopped playing the zither and looked at Qin Feiyang in the image. She smiled and said, "He's willing to sacrifice himself for a friend. He's still the same as in his previous life. He hasn't changed at all." Yes, the white-haired young man nodded. But the woman frowned her beautiful brows again. But what? The white-haired young man looked at her in confusion. Is it really okay for the little guy to do this? Isn't it afraid that Qin Feiyang will bear a grudge against it? The woman said, "So what if he bears a grudge? With the little guy's current strength, Qin Feiyang won't be its opponent at all." The white-haired young man smiled. Even so, don't forget that Qin Feiyang isn't an ordinary person. He's his reincarnation. With his talent, it's only a matter of time before he catches up. I think it's best to let the little guy restrain himself and not go too far. Otherwise, you'll be implicated. The woman said worriedly, "Implicate me?" The white-haired young man smiled and his brows were full of arrogance. "I'm serious." The woman said angrily, "Yes, yes, yes. Madam is right. When I have time, I'll teach it a lesson." The white-haired young man quickly smiled apologetically. "When you have time?" The woman was stunned and frowned. "I don't understand. Are you busy now? You've been playing all day." "Of course I'm busy. Look, not only do I have to accompany you, but I also have to accompany my son and give birth to another girl. How can I find the time?" "Madam, can you not care about these things? Let the little guy handle it himself. Besides, you have to give up something to gain something. Qin Feiyang has lost a lot now, but maybe he will gain even more in the future," the young man in white said meaningfully. He stepped forward and hugged the woman tightly. He chuckled and said, "Let's hurry up and make a baby. Those old people above are urging us. If we don't work harder, I'm afraid we'll be scolded by them again." The woman blushed and said angrily, "It's broad daylight. What are you thinking about? You're my wife. What do you think I'm thinking?" The white-clothed young man chuckled and disappeared with the woman in his arms. The scene in the void also disappeared. Inside the spatial divine item, Qin Feiyang stood on top of the blue stone, gazing at the gate of reincarnation with eyes full of anticipation. By the side, the inner demons, Ling Yunfei, Luo Qingzhu, and the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young Mississippi. Although they had objected at the start, what was done could not be undone. They could only look forward to everyone's rebirth. Time trickled by. Qin Feiyang's cultivation had already fallen to the martial ancestor realm. The gate of reincarnation emitted a vast aura. Finally, as it fell all the way, Qin Feiyang's cultivation finally disappeared completely. There was no aura on his body at all. The moment his cultivation disappeared, One figure after another flew out of the gate of reincarnation, one after another. Qin Feiyang's face was filled with ecstasy. He saw the white-eyed wolf, Lu Hong, Fatso, Willow Tree, Yu Huang, Chui Li, Li Yun, Ning Mingi, and so on. Looking at the familiar faces, his eyes could not help but blur. Although it had only been less than an hour since everyone had died, he felt that it had been as long as a few centuries. From the initial despair and pain to the current joy and excitement, he felt as if he was dreaming. Did it really work? Ling Yunfei and Luo Qingzhu were dumbfounded. However, after being reborn, everyone was naked. Everyone's skin was like that of a newborn baby. In the void above, Fatso and the others were confused. Where was this? Hell? They turned to look at the gate of reincarnation, their eyes full of doubts. Could this be the legendary hell? Boom! With the appearance of the last person, the gate of reincarnation collapsed. The 99 purple gold divine dragons also disappeared between heaven and earth. Fatso retracted his gaze and scanned the surroundings. He said suspiciously, "Brother Wolf, this place looks a little familiar." "It does look a little familiar." The white-eyed wolf nodded. Lu Jing suddenly said, "Wait, isn't this Ling Yunfei's space divine item?" "Yes, it really is. What's going on? Aren't we already dead? Why are we in his space divine item?" The winged snow eagle, the pangolin, the black dragon snake, Dan Wangkai, the viper, and the spirit queen were all stunned. Hey, shouldn't you put on your clothes first and then discuss slowly?" Listening to the discussion of the group of people, Ling Yunfei was speechless and shouted loudly, "This is little Ling's voice." Wolf King was pleasantly surprised. The group of people lowered their heads and looked down. When they saw Qin Feiyang and the others, their faces were full of joy. "Wait, put on clothes?" Immediately after, everyone was slightly stunned and looked at themselves. One by one, their faces were full of embarrassment. They hurriedly activated the power of the false god and battle chi to cover their bodies. It was only now that they noticed that they were not wearing any clothes. The first thing they did was to look for the Cosmos bag to get their clothes. However, they found that they could not find the Cosmos bag. Luo Qingzhu asked, "Feiyang, did their Cosmos bag not reborn?" "The gate of reincarnation can only let them be reborn." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Luo Qingzhu frowned and said, "Then didn't we lose a lot?" And Qin Feiyang nodded. All his artifacts, herbs, and wealth were with Lu Hong and Dan Wangkai. In other words, these things were all gone. But it didn't matter to him. These were all worldly possessions, as long as he was still alive. Alas! Ling Yunfei let out a long sigh. He looked at Luo Qingzhu and said, "Take out all our spare clothes." Luo Qingzhu nodded. The two of them took out some men's and women's clothes from their Cosmos bags and sent them to Fatso and the others. Everyone hurriedly put them on. "We beasts are more comfortable. We don't need to wear clothes wherever we go." The white-eyed wolf smiled and rushed to Qin Feiyang like lightning. He asked suspiciously, "Little Qin Zi, what the hell is going on? Are we alive or dead now?" The white-eyed wolf, Lu Hong, and the others, after putting on their clothes, also landed around Qin Feiyang one after another, looking confused. They clearly remembered the moment when they were killed by the small beast. By right, it was impossible to survive with their bodies smashed. But now, Qin Feiyang and the others in front of them were so real. Could it be Qin Feiyang and the others were also killed by the small beast? Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "Pinch your face hard, and you will know whether you are alive or dead now." Everyone raised their arms and pinched their faces hard. Pain? At that moment, they were stunned. Then, they were overjoyed. Pain meant that they were still alive. "What are you happy about? Didn't you see that I lost my cultivation in order to save you?" The inner demon said angrily. "Lost your cultivation?" Everyone was shocked and quickly looked at Qin Feiyang. Sure enough, Qin Feiyang was now an ordinary person. The willow tree asked, "Young master, can you recover your cultivation?" Qin Feiyang shook his head and said with a smile, "I have to cultivate again." "What? Cultivate again?" Everyone's eyes trembled. Didn't this mean that all his cultivation was gone? "Boss, why do you have to do this? Do you know how much you have sacrificed in order to cultivate to this point? How long have you worked hard? If I had a choice, I would never let you lose your cultivation in order to save me. Fatso shouted. The inner demons glanced at Fatso, then looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "See, I told you that they would not agree with what you did. I don't regret it," Qin Feiyong said with a smile. This simple sentence touched the heartstrings of everyone present. The white-eyed wolf said suspiciously, "Little Qin Zi, how did you save us? Do you still remember the fourth move of the Divine Dragon technique?" Qin Feiyong said, "Yes." The white-eyed wolf nodded and said, "I remember that you have never used this move before." "Yes, because this move is not used to kill people, but to save people. Of course, you have to pay a high price," Qin Feiyong said with a smile. Ling Yunfei said, "I have a question that I have always wanted to ask." "What is it?" Qin Feiyong turned to look at him. "If you use the fourth move now, you will lose your cultivation as the price. In the future, when you cultivate the fourth move to the perfect realm and save billions of people, what will be the price?" Ling Yunfei asked. "Life," Qin Feiyong said. Ling Yunfei was immediately petrified. Wasn't this price a little too high? The willow tree looked at Ling Yunfei, then at Qin Feiyong and asked, "Young master, is there no other way to save them?" Qin Feiyong shook his head. "Why are you so stupid? Do you think we are worth it?" The willow tree suddenly said angrily. Qin Feiyong said with a smile, "Of course you are, because you are all my friends and partners." Friends, partners. Hearing this, the white-eyed wolf, Fatso, and the others were fine because they had long regarded Qin Feiyong as their family. But the willow tree, Yu Huang, Li Yun, and Ning Mingi all had an indescribable feeling in their hearts. How were they supposed to repay this kindness? Plop. Suddenly, the willow tree knelt on one knee on the ground and said, "Young master, I, willow tree, swear to the heavens that no matter where you go in the future, I will follow you and never leave you." Qin Feiyong was stunned. "And this emperor?" "In the past, I was with you because of your potential pill, but now, this emperor is interested in your character and character. Your cultivation is gone, right? Don't be afraid. Let this emperor open the way for you in the future." Yu Huang also looked at Qin Feiyong with a firm gaze. Li Yun looked at Yu Huang and Willow Tree, her eyes flickering. Suddenly, he smiled in relief, turned to look at the fake gods of the palace of Fengtian, and said, "From now on, the palace of Fengtian is disbanded. In the future, you will not be loyal to me, but Qin Feiyong. He is our only young master." Disbanded? The people of the palace of Fengtian suddenly became restless. Ning Mingi also looked at Li Yun in surprise. "This is an order. Moreover, don't you think it's a very lucky thing to meet such a loyal and righteous young master?" Li Yun laughed. "Finished." He turned to look at Ning Mingi. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They also knelt on one knee and said respectfully, "Young master's benevolence and righteousness have made us sincerely convinced. We are also willing to follow young master to the death and never betray you. We swear to follow you to the death and never betray you." Seeing this, the others took a deep breath and also knelt on the ground and shouted, Qin Feiyong was stunned. Chapter 1658. This scene was far beyond his expectations, because when he saved everyone, he didn't think so much at all. In short, he didn't ask for anything in return, but he didn't expect that because of this matter, he had completely subdued these people, especially Li Yun. She actually announced the dissolution of Fengtian Palace. How much courage did she have to make such a choice? The inner demons walked to Qin Feiyong and said lightly, "Losing cultivation and wealth to gain people's hearts, is this a loss or a gain? A deal?" Qin Feiyong was stunned and frowned at the inner demons. "Everyone is sincere. How can it be called a deal? You continue to create, sooner or later you will kill yourself." The inner demons snorted and directly returned to the inner world. Qin Feiyong smiled bitterly. It seemed that his use of the fourth move, the Gate of Rebirth, had annoyed the inner demons. Shaking his head, he looked at Willow Tree and the others and said with a smile, "Get up. We will be a family in the future. No need to be so polite." "Yes, Everyone bowed and got up one after another. Wait, why don't I see Chong-er and the others? A woman suddenly spoke. It was Li Yun's wife. She glanced at the crowd around, her eyes full of panic. Hearing this, everyone hurriedly helped to look for him. But there were only 100 people here. Looking through the crowd, they didn't see Li Chong. Moreover, Li Cheng's 2 brothers were also not found. Why don't I see Shiming? Zhao Tailai suddenly exclaimed. Zhao Shiming is also missing? Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. Ning Mingyi also said, and Yining and Yang, they are also not here. What's going on? Qin Feiyong glanced at the crowd. Indeed, he didn't find Zhao Shiming, Li Chong, Ning Yifeng, Ning Yiyang, and Li Cheng's 2 brothers. Where did these people go? Could it be that they weren't reborn? But it was impossible. He could resurrect 1,000 people now, and there were less than 1,000 people here. Young master, what's going on? Where are they? Ning Mingyi, Li Yun, and Zhao Tailai looked at Qin Feiyong and asked. I don't know either. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Ling Yunfei asked, where were they originally? When we were fighting with the fire dragon, we were afraid that something would happen to them, so we left them in the spatial divine item. Wait, they can't still be inside the spatial divine object, right? Li Yun hurriedly checked the spatial divine item, but she realized that it had not been reborn. Oh no, Qin Feiyong said. What is it? Everyone looked at him in surprise. Luo Qingzhu asked, Feiyong, could it be that the people who died in the spatial divine object can't be reborn? No. As long as you have a little bit of blood, you can be reborn. And now, they haven't been reborn. This can only mean one thing. They have been annihilated along with the spatial divine item. Qin Feiyong said in a deep voice. Annihilated. Zhao Tailai, Ning Mingyi, and Li Yun trembled both physically and mentally. Zhao Tailai hurriedly ran up, grabbed Qin Feiyong's hand and begged, Young master, you have to save them. Ning Mingyi and Li Yun also looked at Qin Feiyong with pleading faces. There's no other way. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Zhao Tailai cried anxiously, You're so powerful. How can there be no other way? Calm down. Can't you see that boss's cultivation is gone? Even if we find Zhao Shiming and the others' blood now, we can't save them. Fatso said angrily. Zhao Tailai's body trembled, and he collapsed to the ground powerlessly. His eyes were empty and lifeless as he muttered, I only have one daughter. God, why did you do this to me? Ning Mingyi and Li Yun also lowered their heads, their faces full of sadness. Damn small beast, I swear, I will kill you. Suddenly, Zhao Tailai roared, his killing intent soaring to the sky. Qin Feiyong sighed softly, patted Zhao Tailai's shoulder, and comforted him. My condolences. Let them calm down. Now let's think about how to take back Chang Shui. Fatso glanced at them and looked at Qin Feiyong. As soon as he heard Chang Shui, Qin Feiyong clenched his hands, and a strong murderous intent burst out from his eyes. But then, he weakly let go of his hands. Now that he had lost his cultivation, how could he take back Chang Shui from small beast? Wasn't this a daydream? Boss, you can't be discouraged. Have you forgotten? Chang Shui is the only thing your mother left for you. Fatso said. Mother. Qin Feiyong's eyes trembled. Right. He couldn't be discouraged. Wasn't it just the loss of his cultivation? He could just cultivate again. Although we lost a lot this time, such as everyone's divine artifacts, herbs, and so on, as long as we are still alive, everything can be redone. I also promise you that in the future, each of you will have a divine artifact of your own. As for now, the fake god will stay here first, and the others will follow me to the castle to cultivate. Willow Tree, Yuhuang, you guys come with me? Qin Feiyong regained his composure and said to everyone. Everyone nodded. Qin Feiyong looked at Ling Yunfei. Ling Yunfei understood and led Qin Feiyong, Fatso, and the others, White-Eyed Wolf, and other beasts to appear in the castle. Let's cultivate in seclusion. Strength is the most important. If we don't have enough strength, we're just ants. Qin Feiyong looked at Fatso and the others and said. Ling Yunfei took out a chinkuan bag and smiled. I still have a lot of battle chi pills here. You guys use them first? And Fatso and the others nodded and took the chinkuan bag. After distributing some battle-chi pills to each of them, they sat cross-legged and entered a state of cultivation. Dan Wonkai also went into seclusion to cultivate, because his alchemy fire had also been annihilated. Although the nether devil flame was still there was no 9th grade pill furnace. Moreover, even if his alchemy fire was still there, he couldn't refine pills now because he didn't have the herbs, so he could only choose to cultivate. Willow Tree glanced at everyone, looked at Qin Fei Yang and said, "Young master, the most important thing is to find the herbs. After all, so many people need to cultivate. How can there be no herbs?" "There's no rush. We still have a lot of blood-devouring bees' honey, which is enough for everyone to cultivate. I think we should go to the main hall to take a look now, because Zhuge Mingyang is still outside," Ling Yunfei said. Qin Fei Yang nodded, looked at Ling Yunfei and said, "How about this? Willow Tree and Yu Huang will accompany me outside. You go back and continue to comprehend the profound meaning of becoming a god. When Li Yun and the others calm down, let them out. Okay, if there's anything, remember to inform me." After Ling Yunfei finished speaking, he disappeared. Willow Tree looked at Qin Fei Yang and asked, "Young master, can you still control the castle now?" "No, but I can go out." After Qin Fei Yang finished speaking, he took Willow Tree and Yu Huang and appeared in the desert. Woo-woo. A terrifying storm swept over. Willow Tree hurriedly took Qin Fei Yang and rushed into the main hall within 100 feet. There was no storm within 100 feet, so it was very safe. And after the battle ended, the place returned to peace. "That bastard is really here," Yu Huang thought, his eyes as gloomy as water. In front of the main hall, Zhuge Mingyang looked at the door, holding his chin, his face full of confusion. Qin Fei Yang glanced at Zhuge Mingyang, took out the castle, and handed it to Willow Tree. "Before my cultivation recovers, you keep the castle? I will take good care of it," Willow Tree said solemnly. "Let's go." After Willow Tree kept the castle, Qin Fei Yang waved his hand and walked towards Zhuge Mingyang. What is he thinking? He didn't even notice our aura. Yu Huang looked at Zhuge Mingyang and asked suspiciously, "He should be thinking about how to open the door of the main hall." Qin Fei Yang guessed, "If that's the case, why don't we take the opportunity to kill him now?" Yu Huang thought, killing intent flashing in his eyes. "I agree," Willow Tree said. "Let's do it." A sinister smile appeared on Yu Huang's face. She changed the color of her skin, blending together with the yellow sand, as she silently sped towards Zhuge Mingyang. Seeing Yu Huang approaching step by step and about to succeed, Zhuge Mingyang suddenly raised his eyebrows, and a terrifying aura burst out. He was caught off guard. Instead, Yu Huang was sent flying. Zhuge Mingyang turned his head to look at Qin Fei Yang. When he saw Lu Mu at the side, a hint of bewilderment instantly crept into his eyes. He said, "Didn't you die?" "I'm lucky, I didn't die," Willow Tree sneered. Yu Huang also appeared next to Qin Fei Yang, staring coldly at Zhuge Mingyang. "You're not dead?" Zhuge Mingyang looked at Yu Huang in shock. Yu Huang snorted, "You're a scourge. How can we be willing to die when you're not dead?" Zhuge Mingyang glanced at the man and beast, and looked at Qin Fei Yang in disbelief. "How did you do it? Wait, where's your cultivation? Why is it gone?" Qin Fei Yang ignored him and scanned the main hall. Zhuge Mingyang frowned. Could it be that the resurrection of Willow Tree and Yu Huang had something to do with Qin Fei Yang's cultivation? Willow Tree and Yu Huang had been resurrected. Then did that mean the others had been resurrected as well? Qin Fei Yang stepped forward and asked, "Why are you still standing outside?" Zhuge Mingyang suppressed the doubts in his heart and turned around to look at the door of the great hall. He said angrily, "I've tried everything, but I just can't open this door. You should know how to open it." "I don't know." Qin Fei Yang shook his head. "You don't know?" Zhuge Mingyang was stunned and frowned. "Then why are you here?" "Brother Qin, we're old friends. Why are you hiding it from me?" "Old friends? Weren't you happy when Willow Tree and the others were killed?" Qin Fei Yang sneered. Hearing this, Willow Tree and Yu Huang's eyes flashed with killing intent. Zhuge Mingyang smiled embarrassedly and said, "That was a joke. How can you take it seriously, right?" Qin Fei Yang glanced at him and took a few steps back, looking at Willow Tree and Yu Huang, saying, Try and see if you can open the door. Zhuge Mingyang sneered. Even I can't do it. Do you think they can? How will we know if we don't try? Lu Mu coldly snorted. He transmitted his voice. Yu Huang, go and protect the young master. You have to be careful. Right now, you don't have a divine weapon. You aren't a match for Zhuge Mingyang. Got it. Baiming Yu Huang silently replied. After that, she sped towards Qin Feiyang with lightning speed. Zhuge Mingyang glanced at the two men and the beast and also retreated to the side. Chapter 1659. Willow Tree stared at the door, his 5 fingers clenched into a fist, constantly accumulating power. Huh. Suddenly, he roared. He punched the door. The power of the false god rolled out. A loud bang resounded through the sky. However, the door didn't move at all. So strong? Willow Tree raised his eyebrows. He took out the castle, poured the power of the false god into it, and smashed the door. Clang. The door still didn't move. Let's try together? Zhuge Mingyang stepped forward and looked at Willow Tree. Okay. Willow Tree glanced at him and nodded. Boom. The two of them slapped at the same time, and they used all their strength. But the result was still useless. Willow Tree said angrily, Even this can't open it? Stop. Qin Feiyang said. Willow Tree turned to look at Qin Feiyang, lowered his head and said, This subordinate is incompetent. It's not your fault. I suddenly remembered that when the fire dragon blasted the door with his divine power, the door didn't even tremble, let alone you, Qin Feiyang said. Then how do we open it? Willow Tree raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang stepped forward, glanced at the door and said, There should be some mechanism. I've searched everywhere outside this hall, but I didn't find any mechanism at all. Zhuge Mingyang shook his head, then looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, You really don't know how to open it? Qin Feiyang said, If I knew, would I let Willow Tree spend so much effort? Then who knows? What if you saw me here and let Willow Tree put on an act? Zhuge Mingyang sneered. Do you think I'm a villain like you? Qin Feiyang retorted. Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang ignored him and walked to the front door, reaching out to touch the door. An ice-cold chill immediately spread from his palm to his heart. There was no mechanism. Brute force would not be able to break it. Didn't this mean that there was no way to enter the hall at all? Back then, the mysterious man had said that it would be very difficult to enter this hall, and it turned out to be true. Do I need blood? Qin Feiyang suddenly froze. Some of the doors had undergone special treatment and required a certain person's blood to open. Qin Feiyang looked at Zhuge Mingyang and asked, Have you tested it with your blood? I've tried. Zhuge Mingyang nodded. Obviously, this method wouldn't work either. Otherwise, Zhuge Mingyang would have already gone in. After thinking for a moment, Zhuge Mingyang added, You can give it a try. After all, your purple gold dragon blood is even more noble than our bloodline power. Qin Feiyang said, Why do I feel that your words sound so sarcastic? It's the truth. You're thinking too much, Zhuge Mingyang said. Qin Feiyang glanced at him and bit the tip of his index finger. A drop of purple gold dragon blood appeared. His cultivation was abolished, but his bloodline power was not, and his potential imprint was still there. This was the biggest reason why he regained his confidence. As long as the purple gold dragon blood and potential imprint were there, it wouldn't take much time even if he cultivated again. He raised his index finger and pressed it on the door. But after waiting for a long time, the door didn't respond at all. Zhuge Mingyang raised the corner of his mouth and said lightly, It seems that your bloodline power is nothing special. Do you think it will affect me if you mock me like this? It won't. On the contrary, it will make you look ridiculous. Qin Feiyang said contemptuously. Zhuge Mingyang suddenly had a trace of hostility between his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang ignored it and raised his arm again, pressing it on the stone door and pushing it hard. Boom. Just as he pushed, the stone door actually made a deafening sound. This sudden change scared Willow Tree and Qin Feiyang so much that they hurriedly retreated. Yu Huang and Zhuge Mingyang also retreated at lightning speed. The 3 people and 1 beast sized up the stone door, their eyes full of surprise. The rumbling sound gradually dissipated. But the stone door was still tightly shut. There was nothing unusual, and nothing jumped out of the hall. Was it an illusion? Zhuge Mingyang asked. We all heard it. How could it be an illusion? Willow Tree rolled his eyes and turned to Qin Feiyang, saying, I'll go take a look. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. If it was before, he would definitely go by himself. But now it was different. Not to mention that his cultivation was destroyed. The castle was also with Willow Tree. If anything happened, even the gods couldn't save him. Willow Tree slowly stepped forward, his face full of vigilance. When he walked to the door, he carefully looked at the door. A trace of surprise gradually crept up in his eyes. Suddenly, his eyes were fixed on the center of the door. Soon, a trace of ecstasy crept up his face, and he shouted, Young master, come here. There is a crack in the door. What? A crack in the door? Hearing that, Yu Huang immediately took Qin Feiyang and rushed to Willow Tree's side. Zhuge Mingyang also ran over with a look of bewilderment. Willow Tree pointed to the door and finally said, See. The two people and one beast looked at the place where Willow Tree was pointing, and their eyes suddenly lit up. The whole door was originally one, without any cracks. But at this moment, there was a small crack in the center of the door. Although it was very small and almost impossible to see with the naked eye, it did exist. Yu Huang said in astonishment, Does this mean that the door has been opened? Hearing Yu Huang's words, Zhuge Mingyang immediately stepped forward and slapped the door. With a bang, the stone door remained motionless. The crack in the door didn't change at all. I don't believe this, Zhuge Mingyang said angrily, and then punched the door with all his strength. As a result, not only did he not blast the door open, but his arm was numb from the shock. What's going on? He was puzzled. Yu Huang and Willow Tree also frowned. Suddenly, the two people and one beast looked at Qin Feiyang together. Why are you looking at me? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. No, I remember that earlier. It was because you pushed the door with all your might that the rumbling sound was heard. Furthermore, a crack appeared on the door. I think it must have something to do with you, Zhuge Mingyang said. Qin Feiyang was stunned and shook his head. It should be a coincidence. I'm just a mortal now, and my strength is much weaker than yours. If you can't open the door, how can I open it? That's true. Zhuge Mingyang nodded. Even he, a fake god, couldn't open the door. How could a mortal open the door? Willow Tree pondered for a while, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Young master, why don't you try again? Who knows, maybe this door will only give you face. Only give me face? Do you think I'm the god of creation? Why should it give me face? Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly, but did as he was told. He went forward and pressed the stone door, and pushed hard. Bang! That deafening noise sounded again. Willow Tree, Yu Huang, and Zhuge Mingyang looked at each other. Was it really because of Qin Feiyang? Qin Feiyang was also shocked. What the hell was going on? When he came back to his senses, he looked at the door gap and found that the door gap had become a little wider. Young master, it's really giving you face, Willow Tree said excitedly. It doesn't make sense. Even I, a semi-divinity, am unable to smash it open. How can a powerless mortal like him be able to push it open? Zhuge Mingyang wailed. That's my luck, Yu Huang said proudly. What does this have to do with luck? Zhuge Mingyang rolled his eyes. Willow Tree thought for a while and asked, Young master, do you think this hall has something to do with you? Qin Feiyang was speechless. Like you, this is my first time here. What can I do with it? Maybe it's just like Yu Huang said. I have a good luck. Zhuge Mingyang's face twitched. This bastard said that he was fat, and he really panted. Yu Huang urged, Since you can open it, hurry up and see what's inside. Qin Feiyang nodded. This time, he pressed his hands on the stone door and pushed hard. Rumble. The loud noise was deafening again. The door gap also became wider and wider. The door of the palace was as big as a mountain. Qin Feiyang stood under the door like a tiny ant. But at this moment, he, the ant, was really pushing down the elephant in front of him little by little. As the door opened, a vast aura surged out of the hall. Whether it was Willow Tree, Yu Huang, or Zhuge Mingyang, they all felt a kind of fear from the soul. It was as if there was an ancient divine king lurking in this hall. As a mortal, he is actually more outstanding than me. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Zhuge Mingyang looked at Qin Feiyang's back and felt very unbalanced. Qin Feiyang was so tired that he was sweating profusely. Although he could open the door, he had to use all his strength. Fortunately, his current body was still the body of a false god. Otherwise, he would be exhausted. Rumble, after a long time, the door was finally opened half a meter wide, which was enough to enter. But inside, it was pitch black. Even the three false gods, Willow Tree, Yu Huang, and Zhuge Mingyang, couldn't tear open the darkness and see what was inside. Feeling, behind this door, it was like a dark bottomless abyss that no one dared to set foot in. Willow Tree turned to look at Zhuge Mingyang and joked, "Didn't you want to go in? Now that the door has been opened by the young master, why are you still standing here?" Zhuge Mingyang said without blushing, "We are partners. Of course, we should share the joys and sorrows." "Partners?" Willow Tree snorted and whispered, "Young master, I will go in first to explore. Wait for me here." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded. Willow Tree then transmitted his voice to Yu Huang. "You must be careful of Zhuge Mingyang and protect the young master." "Don't worry," Yu Huang said secretly. Willow Tree looked up at the dark area behind the stone door, took a deep breath, and stepped forward. Buzz. But before his step landed, a white light curtain appeared in front of him and directly bounced Willow Tree away. Huh. Qin Feiyang, Yu Huang, and Zhuge Mingyang were surprised. After Willow Tree stabilized his body, he returned to Qin Feiyang's side with a look of surprise on his face. Qin Feiyang said, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." Willow Tree waved his hand and frowned. "The door has been opened. Why can't we go in?" "Let me try." Yu Huang rose into the air and flew inside. But the result was also blocked by the light curtain. Chapter 1660. The light curtain flickered with dim divine light, like a natural moat, blocking in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Zhuge Mingyang frowned and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Brother Qin, why don't you try?" "Yes. Maybe only the one who pushes open the stone door can go in." Willow Tree's eyes lit up as he guessed. Hearing Willow Tree's words, Zhuge Mingyang's eyes suddenly flashed with a touch of coldness. "What do you want to do?" Willow Tree immediately stared at Zhuge Mingyang gloomily. "What do you mean, what do I want to do? What do I want to do?" Zhuge Mingyang was stunned. "Don't think I didn't see the cold light in your eyes. Let me tell you, if you dare to do anything, I will drag you to hell even if I have to self-destruct." Willow Tree said in a deep voice, "What cold light? I don't know what you are talking about." Zhuge Mingyang said expressionlessly. "Humph." Willow Tree snorted and said in a low voice, "Young master, go ahead. Yu Huang and I will watch outside." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded, glanced at Zhuge Mingyang, and stepped forward. As a result, the light curtain in front of him was as if it was nothing and he directly crossed it. "How can this be? I don't accept this. Why can only he go in and I can't?" Seeing this, Zhuge Mingyang's killing intent suddenly rose, and he slapped at Qin Feiyang's back. Qin Feiyang saw that the situation was not good, and his other foot quickly followed in. At that moment, Qin Feiyang disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Zhuge Mingyang slapped at the light curtain, and a terrifying force came from the light curtain. He immediately flew out with a scream and smashed into the yellow sand, looking extremely embarrassed. "Do you know what this is called?" "You reap what you sow, Willow Tree," and Yu Huang turned to look at Zhuge Mingyang and gloated. "You reap what you sow? I think you're courting death." Zhuge Mingyang was infuriated. His Bone Dragon Battle Soul appeared, and he immediately activated his special ability. The cultivation of the Willow Tree and Yu Huang began to plummet. Willow Tree's eyes flashed with killing intent. He immediately led Yu Huang into the castle. Zhuge Mingyang was stunned. A trace of mockery crawled up his face as he said, "Let's see how long you can hide." Subsequently, he strode to the gate and stood guard there. His fighting soul and innate divine ability did not dissipate. Inside the castle, Willow Tree looked at Zhuge Mingyang through the screen with a gloomy face. "Not good. This bastard is obviously waiting outside for Qin Feiyang. When Qin Feiyang comes out, he will probably be killed by him. Yu Huang said worriedly, I won't let him succeed. As soon as the young master appears, I will immediately go out. Even if I have to risk my life, I will protect the young master. Willow Tree said word by word. And then there was Qin Feiyang. The moment he entered the main hall, his eyes lit up. At this moment, he was standing at the entrance of the main hall, less than 2 or 3 meters away from Zhuge Mingyang. Moreover, he could clearly see Zhuge Mingyang, but Zhuge Mingyang couldn't see him, and in front of him was an extremely huge hall. Yes, in the air above, there was a diamond-shaped crystal stone. That crystal stone was the size of an adult's palm. It had distinct edges and corners, like a sparkling and translucent diamond, blooming with bright light. Wu? Looking for? Fierce quail. Before, the vast qi that gushed out of the main hall came from that crystal stone. But the whole hall? Wu? Fourth knock poison? Shi Lai Mu? Ao. There was no room. There were no tables and chairs. There was no trace of anyone. It seemed extremely empty. Qin Feiyang turned his head and glanced at Zhuge Mingyang. Glancing around the huge hall? Wu? Wu Jun of the Broken Skeleton Damn Bloody Temple. His voice echoed in the hall for a long time. No one responded to him for a long time. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment. Then he carefully walked around the hall. Wu Jun Su Hu Chu? He Xian? Wu Jun. At last, after walking around the hall, he finally confirmed that he was the only one here. The mysterious man said that there was a treasure here that could control the Black Tortoise realm. But where is the treasure? Qin Feiyang looked around suspiciously. Suddenly, he looked at the crystal stone floating in the middle. Is it the treasure that the mysterious man said? He walked forward slowly, always vigilant. He walked to the bottom of the crystal stone and looked up at it. Is this really the treasure that the mysterious man said? After pondering for a while, he gritted his teeth, jumped up, grabbed the crystal stone, and landed steadily on the ground. No danger? Looking at the crystal stone in his hand, he was quite surprised. He thought that this crystal stone might have hidden killing intent, but now there was no change at all. He worried for nothing. But the next moment, the crystal stone released a horrible qi. Without hesitation, Qin Feiyang hurriedly threw away the crystal. However, although the crystal stone was thrown away, the qi emitted by the crystal stone did not disappear. Like a tide, it rushed toward Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's expression changed. He quickly turned around and ran away. Because this qi, for him now, was like the power of heaven. Even his body was cracking. Soon, his whole body was stained with purple gold dragon blood, like a bloody man. Damn the mysterious man. He lied to me. Qin Feiyang cursed and ran toward the gate without hesitation. But when he hit the light curtain was not as invisible as when he came in before. It blasted him out on the spot and rolled on the ground awkwardly. That qi also shrouded him. He could not move at all, like a fish on the chopping board. His fleshly body continued to crack. However, he could only watch as all of this happened. He was powerless to stop it. The purple gold dragon blood flowed all over the ground. The heart-wrenching pain hit every nerve in his body, making him feel worse than death. I didn't die in the small beast's hands, but I still die here. Is this fate? I'm doomed to die. Qin Feiyang was desperate. The qi emitted by the crystal stone, like ice, imprisoned him on the ground. Crack. Gradually, his body was torn apart and eaten by the crystal stone little by little. His consciousness also disappeared on the spot. Bastard, let him go. The inner demons rushed out of the inner world and pounced on the crystal stone crazily. Because the inner world he was in had also collapsed, and he could clearly sense that Qin Feiyang was on the verge of death step by step. Once Qin Feiyang died, as the inner demons, he would also be annihilated. However, in front of the crystal stone, the inner demons were inferior to ants. Not only were they imprisoned in an instant, but even he could not escape the fate of being eaten by the crystal stone. His consciousness quickly dissipated. In the end, Qin Feiyang and the inner demons disappeared in the hall. Not even a hair was left, as if they had never been here. The purple gold dragon blood on the ground was also absorbed by the crystal stone. Then, the crystal stone rose into the air, returned to its original position, and fell silent. Boom! The gate of the palace also closed. The hall gradually returned to silence. The gate closed? Outside, looking at the closed gate, Zhuge Mingyang's face was full of suspicion. In the castle, Willow Tree and Yu Huang were also confused. Suddenly, Willow Tree's eyes trembled. He looked at Yu Huang and said in surprise, "Why can't I feel the existence of the slave seal?" What? The slave seal disappeared? Yu Huang's body trembled. Fatso and the others also suddenly opened their eyes and got up to look at Willow Tree. Willow Tree carefully sensed for a moment and looked at everyone. The slave seal has indeed disappeared. When did it disappear? Lu Hong asked quickly. This, Willow Tree could not answer. Because he had been worried about Qin Feiyang before, so he did not pay attention to it. When we entered the miracle, weren't we also controlled by little Qin Zi with the slave seal? Quickly check. Is our slave seal still there? White-eyed Wolf urged. Yes. I actually forgot about this. Fatso patted his head hard. Immediately after, everyone closed their eyes one after another. Only Miss Longfeng and Yu Huang did not close their eyes. The reason for that was because her slave imprint had already been removed by Qin Feiyang when he found her. As for Yu Huang, Qin Feiyang had never controlled him. A moment later, White-eyed Wolf, Fatso, and the others opened their eyes. Their eyes were full of disbelief. The slave seal had indeed disappeared. Boss, Fatso cried out in grief. What the hell is going on? What is hidden in the palace? Damn it, how dare you kill little Qin Zi? Willow Tree, take us out immediately and kill our way in. White-eyed Wolf roared. Don't be impulsive. We can't get in at all. Besides, the door has already been closed. Willow Tree said. So what if it's closed? I don't believe that we can't break it open with so many false gods. White-eyed Wolf said. Willow Tree said angrily, even the fire dragon's divine power can't break it open. Do you think we can? White-eyed Wolf was also angry. He rushed in front of Willow Tree and roared, then we can't just stand here and watch. Give me the castle. I can't give it to you. If you run out like this, you'll kill everyone. Because Zhuge Mingyang is still outside. None of us is his match. Willow Tree shook his head. What's a Zhuge Mingyang? Give it to me. White-eyed Wolf roared. No. Willow Tree shook his head. What? Seeing that little Qin Zi is dead, you want to take the castle for yourself? White-eyed Wolf laughed sinisterly. I didn't. I'm doing this for your own good. Why don't you understand? If you want the castle, I can give it to you, but you have to wait until we leave the desert. Willow Tree said. Bastard. White-eyed Wolf was burning with anger, and a terrifying aura rose from his body. Seeing that the situation was not good, Fatso, Lu Zheng, the double-winged snow eagle, Dan Wangkai, and the others hurried to hold White-eyed Wolf and persuade him, Brother Wolf, calm down. Willow Tree is right. We can't be impulsive. Little Qin Zi is dead. How can I calm down? Tell me. White-eyed Wolf roared and 2 drops of blood tears fell from his eyes. Looking at the 2 drops of blood tears, everyone's eyes trembled. How sad must he be to shed blood tears? However, thinking about it, it made sense. The ingrate and Qin Feiyang had known each other since Iron Ox Town. Who knew how much they had gone through together? Although Qin Feiyang and the White-eyed Wolf did not usually mention this, there was no doubt that their feelings for each other were the deepest. It was even possible that in each other's hearts, they regarded each other as more important than their own lives. It was not difficult to imagine how the White-eyed Wolf was feeling at this moment. Everyone fell silent. Chapter 1661. Suddenly, Willow Tree gritted his teeth, looked at the White-eyed Wolf and said, All right, let's go out. The White-eyed Wolf immediately roared, Ling Yunfei, come out quickly. Swish. In the next moment, Ling Yunfei appeared. Looking at everyone's sorrowful faces, he asked in surprise, What happened again? The White-eyed Wolf said with killing intent, Call out all the fake gods. We'll kill our way out. Kill our way out? Ling Yunfei was stunned. Looking at the main hall and Zhuge Mingyang in front of him, he asked suspiciously, "Did Zhuge Mingyang do something to you guys?" "It's not Zhuge Mingyang." Fatso quickly explained the situation. "What?" Ling Yunfei's body trembled, and he hurriedly entered the space divine object, stood above the medicine field, and roared, "All fake gods, gather quickly!" His voice was like a bell, resounding through the sky. Whoosh! One figure after another flew into the sky. Not long later, more than 100 fake gods gathered around Ling Yunfei. Ning Mingyi, Zhao Tailai, Cui Li, and Li Yun were also there. Luo Qingzhu, the Miss of Dragon Phoenix House, and the Crocodile Emperor were also there. What's wrong? Looking at the angry and murderous Ling Yunfei, everyone was bewildered. Ling Yunfei said in a deep voice, "Qin Feiyang was killed in that hall." What? When everyone heard this, it was like a bolt from the blue, and their minds rumbled. Feiyang, the Miss of Dragon Phoenix House's body swayed slightly, and she fainted on the spot. Ling Yunfei hurriedly went forward and hugged the Miss of Dragon Phoenix House, only to see that her face was deathly pale. What's going on? Could it be that she also likes Boss Qin? Ling Yunfei was suspicious. Upon hearing the news of Qin Feiyang's death, she actually fainted. He really couldn't find any other reason to explain it. Sister Rushuang, Luo Qingzhu also hurried forward, her face full of concern. Ling Yunfei said, "Don't panic. She's just unconscious. She's fine." Luo Qingzhu let out a sigh of relief. She looked at Ling Yunfei and asked, "Did you personally witness Qin Feiyang's death?" "No. It's Fatso and the others. They said that their enslavement seals have all disappeared." Ling Yunfei said, "Slave seal?" Ning Mingyi and the others who were being controlled immediately closed their eyes and tried to sense the existence of the slave seal. "How is it?" Luo Qingzhu looked at them nervously. Zhao Tailai opened his eyes and looked at Luo Qingzhu, saying, "It really has disappeared." Ning Mingyi and the others also nodded at Luo Qingzhu. Luo Qingzhu's body also shook violently as her vision turned dark. Ling Yunfei used his other hand to support Luo Qingzhu. "Wait." Suddenly, the Golden Wolf King's voice rang out. "What is it?" Everyone looked at it one after another. "Strange. Why didn't this king's slave seal disappear?" The Golden Wolf King asked suspiciously. "Yes, my slave seal didn't disappear either." The Silver Wolf King followed. "And me." The Crocodile Emperor and the other beasts also followed. "What?" Everyone looked at each other. What was going on? Luo Qingzhu heard this and quivered. She looked at the beasts and asked, "Are you sure?" "Yes." The Golden Wolf King nodded. "So, Qin Feiyang is not dead? But why did Fatso and Ning Mingyi's slave seals disappear?" Ling Yunfei said in surprise. "I don't know." Everyone shook their heads. "Wait." Li Yun suddenly opened her mouth and looked at Ling Yunfei. Could it be related to everyone's death? Death? Ling Yunfei was slightly stunned. Then, he became spirited and said excitedly, "Yes, it must be so. At that time, Small Beast will kill all of you. Fatso and Ning Mingyi's slave seals will naturally disappear. Later, Boss Qin saved them, but the slave seals did not regenerate. So, why did Fatso's slave seals disappear? But the Golden Wolf King's slave seals are still there. I think Li Jin's slave seal should still be there. I'll go ask him." After Ling Yunfei finished speaking, he immediately disappeared. Why hasn't he come out yet? What is he doing? Inside the castle, the white-eyed wolf was like an ant on a hot pan. He was extremely anxious. Lu Hong said, "Brother Wolf, Feiyang is dead. You are our backbone. You can't panic now." Backbone? I don't even know how he died. What qualifications do I have to be the backbone? It's all my fault. If I had enough strength, I could have stayed by his side. Maybe he wouldn't have died. The white-eyed wolf closed his eyes in pain. Swish. At this time, Ling Yunfei finally appeared. His face was full of ecstasy. "Why did you only come out now? Brother Wolf is so anxious." Lu Hong asked. Ling Yunfei was about to speak when the white-eyed wolf opened his eyes. Seeing that Ling Yunfei was alone, he immediately said angrily, "Where are Ning Mingyi and the others?" "They didn't come out." Ling Yunfei said. They didn't come out? The white-eyed wolf was instantly furious and roared, "Are they willing to come out?" No, no, don't misunderstand. They didn't come out because Boss Qin is not dead. Ling Yunfei quickly said, "Not dead?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned and roared, "The slavery seal has disappeared. How can little Qin Zi not be dead?" It's true. Although the slavery seals of Fatso and the others have disappeared, the slavery seals of the Golden Wolf King and the others are still there. And I especially want to find Li Jian. His slavery seal is also there. What does this mean? It means that Boss Qin is still alive. Ling Yunfei said. Then how did our enslavement seal disappear? Fatso asked. Ling Yunfei said, we analyzed it inside. It should have something to do with your death. Something to do with our death? Everyone was stunned. The next moment, everyone came to their senses. Willow Tree asked, so, young master is really not dead? Yes. As long as the slavery seal is still there, he is definitely not dead. Ling Yunfei nodded. Willow Tree gave a wry smile and looked at Fatso and the others, saying, we were too careless to ignore this point. Yes. Although the gate of rebirth can bring us back to life, it can't bring other things back to life. That's something that Boss said himself. There are so many of us, but none of us remembered it. We even made such a big mistake. Fatso shook his head. Thinking of his previous behavior, he couldn't help laughing. This is called caring makes you confused. Of course, it's also because we don't care about being controlled by the slavery seal, so we didn't pay special attention to it. Ling Yunfei said with a smile. Willow Tree said, I don't know about the others, but I don't care at all now. It doesn't matter even if I'm controlled by young master. You've made the right choice. Ling Yunfei looked at Willow Tree and smiled. Then, he looked at the hall in the image and said, although I don't know what happened in the hall, at least I can confirm that Qin Feiyang is still fine. Let's wait here. White-eyed Wolf said, even if he's fine now, you have to call Ning Mingi and the others out, just in case. Okay. Ling Yunfei nodded and turned to look at White-eyed Wolf, only to see that White-eyed Wolf had secretly wiped the tears of blood from the corners of his eyes. White-eyed Wolf raised his eyebrows and said angrily, what are you looking at with your little eyes? Ling Yunfei smiled and said, Brother Wolf, I didn't expect you to cry, and it's... Shut up! White-eyed Wolf shouted and glared fiercely at Ling Yunfei. Then, he glanced at all the people and dire beasts present and said, no one is allowed to tell anyone about what happened today, including little Qin Zi. Otherwise, don't blame me for turning against you. Although he had a ferocious look, everyone couldn't help but laugh. White-eyed Wolf's eyes were very fierce at first, but gradually, he couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Time flew by, and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. What's going on? Why hasn't young master come out yet? During this half a month, Willow Tree and Yu Huang had been observing the situation in the hall. As for White-eyed Wolf, Fatso, and the others, under Ling Yunfei's persuasion, they had already gone into closed-door cultivation that day. After all, the rules of time in the castle were different. Wasting one day was equivalent to wasting 10 days. Ning Mingi and the others had also come out and were ready to fight at any time. Maybe young master encountered an accident inside? Or maybe he's trapped inside. Ning Mingi pondered. I'll go ask the Golden Wolf King and the others again to see if the slavery seal is still there. Ling Yunfei said and disappeared without a trace. During this half a month, he went to ask the Golden Wolf King and the others almost every day, because only when he was sure that the slavery seal was still there, he could feel at ease. At the same time, in the hall, everything was the same as before. Except for the crystal, there was nothing else. It was dead silent. But, in another place, a magical scene was happening. This was an ethereal space, boundless and filled with pure white clouds and mist. Somewhere in the clouds, two young men in their 20s were floating in the void. Whether it was appearance, height, or physique, the two looked exactly the same. But there was a difference. The man on the left had black hair like a waterfall. The man on the right had blood-red hair. That's right. The two were Qin Feiyang and the inner demons. At this moment, they seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep, lying quietly in the void with their eyes closed and motionless. Their expressions were extremely peaceful. Even the inner demons didn't have any hostility in their expressions. No one knew how much time had passed. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's eyelids moved. Then he slowly opened his eyes and looked up in confusion. Where was this? Immediately after, that dusty memory surfaced in his mind. He stood up abruptly and scanned his surroundings in shock. Was this heaven? Wait a minute. Although he wasn't a bad person who did all kinds of evil, he wasn't a good person either. How could he enter heaven? He didn't see any angels either. When he saw the inner demons, he hurried forward and shouted, "Inner demons, wake up!" Soon, the inner demons slowly opened their eyes, looked around suspiciously, and asked, "Where is this? Are we dead?" "I don't know where this is either. As for whether we are dead or not, I can't be sure." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Hearing this, the inner demons raised their hands and slapped Qin Feiyang's face. Chapter 1662. However, just as Qin Feiyang grabbed the inner demon's wrist, a scene that made them turn pale with fright appeared. The inner demon's wrist collapsed on the spot, but that was not the point. The inner demons were a manifestation of consciousness. They had no flesh and blood. It was normal for them to collapse. But Qin Feiyang's hand, under the force, collapsed just like the inner demon's wrist. And there was no blood. What did that mean? It meant that he was not a flesh and blood body now. The inner demon stared at Qin Feiyang's collapsed hand, dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang came back to his senses and shook his arm forcefully. At that moment, his entire arm disintegrated and turned into mist. Looking at this scene, Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. It seems that we are really dead, because this was the best proof. After a person died, their flesh and blood disappeared. When the inner demons heard this, their faces turned pale and they roared, "What the hell is that damn crystal? Why did it poison us?" Qin Feiyang also frowned. "And you? I don't understand. Have you never doubted that mysterious person's words?" The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyang and said angrily, "I did. But do we have a choice?" "No." The entrance to the Black Tortoise realm disappeared. "We can only choose to believe him. This is equivalent to a gamble." Qin Feiyang sighed. The inner demons fell silent. "To be honest, although I am a little unwilling to die like this, I feel relieved. Now I am most worried about Fatso and the others. If they can't leave the Black Tortoise realm, where should they go?" Qin Feiyang said, "You just won't change despite repeated admonitions. You can't even take care of yourself and still think about others all day long." The inner demons rolled their eyes at him, glanced around, and said in a deep voice, "First, let's figure out whether this is hell or heaven." "Does it matter whether it is hell or heaven now?" Qin Feiyang was puzzled. "Of course it matters. In the human world, we can be heroes. Even in heaven and hell, we can still carve out a path for ourselves." The inner demons said domineeringly, "We are already dead. Why are you still thinking about this?" Qin Feiyang shook his head. "You live as a hero, die as a ghost hero. Don't you understand?" The inner demons glanced at him, with murderous intent flashing in his eyes, waved his hand and said, "Let's go." "Where to go?" Qin Feiyang said hurriedly. Mental demons said, "How would I know? Let's go look around." The two randomly chose a random direction and walked step by step. Without cultivation, we can still walk in the void? The inner demons was surprised. "We are ghosts now. What's so strange about that?" Qin Feiyang laughed. "How can you still laugh?" The inner demons frowned. "When a person dies, the light goes out. What's there to be unhappy about?" Qin Feiyang shook his head. "I just can't accept it." The inner demons snorted. Suddenly, between the clouds in front, there was a faint light. "What's that?" The two looked at each other and quickly flew over. Gradually, the light became more and more dazzling, and as they got closer, they also felt a divine power. Could it be that heaven and hell have divine weapons? The two were surprised. A moment later, when the two of them flew out of the clouds, it was as if the clouds had parted to reveal the sun. A scene that shocked the two of them appeared before their eyes. They saw divine weapons of different sizes floating in the void in front of them. There were swords, blades, halberds, axes. There were also spears, bows, daggers, sticks, and so on. In short, there were all kinds of weapons in the world here. There were so many of them that they couldn't see the end. Every weapon was emitting a dazzling divine light. Qin Feiyong and the inner demons flew all the way, looking at the divine weapons one by one. Their faces were full of disbelief. In the end, they estimated that there were at least tens of thousands of divine weapons in front of them. Tens of thousands of divine weapons. What kind of concept was that? Even Qin Feiyong's breathing became rapid and his body trembled. This was simply a terrifying divine treasure. What the hell is going on? The inner demons grabbed the back of his head and looked at Qin Feiyong suspiciously. God knows. Qin Feiyong shrugged. The inner demons looked at the divine weapons for a moment and said, "Let's split up and look around to see if there is anything else." Okay. Qin Feiyong nodded. The two immediately separated and shuttled through the clouds. Soon, Qin Feiyong saw another shocking scene. In the void, there were tens of thousands of jade slips floating. Each jade slip was emitting a hazy divine light. They were all divine arts. At the same time, the inner demons also found countless alchemy furnaces in the void. These alchemy furnaces were also divine-level alchemy furnaces. The two continued to search. Soon, Qin Feiyong found clusters of divine-level alchemy fire in all kinds of colors. There were tens of thousands of them. The inner demons also found a lot of medicinal herbs, and they were all the most precious medicinal herbs, such as the fruit of creation, the spiritual infant fruit, and so on. There were even many medicinal herbs that he had never seen before. Next, they also found a golden mountain that was tens of thousands of feet high, as well as countless divine pills and so on. What the hell is this place? There are so many treasures and divine objects. In the end, the two met at the place where they found the divine weapons. Both their faces and eyes were full of surprise. After a long time, the inner demons just recovered and looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "Are you sure this is heaven and hell?" "Hell? I don't think so." As for heaven, Qin Feiyong glanced at the divine weapons and said with a smile, "You don't say. This place really does look like heaven." The inner demons said, in other words, "These divine objects and treasures are all ours? We're already like this. Why do we still need these treasures and divine objects?" Qin Feiyong smiled helplessly. If it was before, he would definitely take out his Qinkuan bag and put it all away. But now, at most, he would be shocked, but he didn't care too much. "You're bullshitting. I've said it before. We live as heroes, and we die as heroes. The divine items and treasures here are our capital. Hurry up and put them away," the inner demons urged. After saying that, they flew to a divine weapon and reached out to grab it. Qin Feiyong frowned, stepped forward to stop the inner demons, and said, "Do you think these things are still useful to us now?" "Let go." The inner demons raised his eyebrows. "We've already come to this point. Why can't you see past it? Besides, don't you feel that so many divine objects and treasures are a little unreal?" Qin Feiyong said, "They're right in front of us. Isn't it real enough?" The inner demons said angrily, "Yes." Qin Feiyong nodded and said, "I always feel that what we see is not real." "Nonsense. So many divine weapons. If it was anyone else, they would think that they were dreaming. But these are all real," the inner demons said. Qin Feiyong turned his head to look at the divine weapons in the void and suddenly waved his hand. At that moment, a scene that the inner demons couldn't accept appeared. The divine weapons in the void actually collapsed one after another, and finally all disappeared into nothingness. Sure enough, there's a problem. Qin Feiyong's heart skipped a beat. Who's playing tricks in the dark? Get out. After the inner demons came back to his senses, he roared, "Haha." A childish laughter suddenly sounded behind the two of them. The two of them tensed up and hurriedly turned around to look, only to see a little boy standing behind them. This little boy was only 3 or 4 years old, wearing a small red belly band and a golden bell hanging around his neck. His little face was chubby and pink. A pair of big dark eyes, blinking, was quite cute. However, there was a sense of depth between his eyebrows, looking like an antique that had lived for countless years. "Who are you?" Qin Feiyang looked at the child warily. The little boy looked at the two of them for a moment and grinned. I'm the owner of this place. The owner of this place? Qin Feiyang looked at each other, glanced around the void, looked at the little boy suspiciously, and asked, Then what is this place? You don't have to worry about that. I came out to tell you. Congratulations on passing the test, the little boy said. Test? Qin Feiyang and Qin Feiyang were stunned. The little boy glanced at the inner demons, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, To be exact, you passed the test? Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked, What test? The test of greed. All creatures in the world have a fatal flaw, which is greed. Greed is endless, and it's also human nature. For example, you humans, in the beginning, you only pursued a little bit of wealth, enough to support your family. However, after you obtained this wealth, you wanted even more wealth. So, the treasures that appeared in front of you before were all tests, the little boy said. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. Wait, just now you said you humans. Are you not human? The inner demons were suspicious. The little boy frowned and said, I just made an analogy. Why are you so worried about this? The inner demons pursed his lips. Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy and asked, Then what would happen if we didn't pass the test just now? What would happen? The little boy chuckled and said, Both of you would disappear. Do you know what disappear is? It's death. We're already dead. Why are you afraid of dying again? The inner demons were disdainful. The little boy said, How do you know that you're already dead? The inner demons was stunned and frowned. What do you mean? Your physical bodies have indeed disappeared, but your consciousness is still fine, isn't it? As long as your consciousness is still there, you're not dead. The little boy said, Not dead? Qin Feiyang and Qin Feiyang looked at each other. Going back to what I said before, if you didn't pass the test, then your consciousness would have been ruthlessly erased. After the little boy said that, he looked at the inner demon and said, You should really be glad that your true body stopped you and didn't let you touch those divine artifacts. Otherwise, both of your consciousnesses would have been wiped out by now. The inner demons couldn't help but feel a lingering fear after hearing this. Qin Feiyang looked at the inner demons and said with a smile, Like I said, you can't just look at the surface of things. You just happened by accident. What are you so proud of? The inner demons snorted. Chapter 1663. The little boy said, Even if the physical body disappears, it can still be reconstructed. Reconstruct? Qin Feiyang and the inner demons were shocked. See for yourself. The little boy waved his hand, and an image immediately appeared in the void in front of him. The scene displayed in the image was the main hall. The crystal was still suspended in the void, emitting a dazzling light. Suddenly, strands of divine light fell from the crystal. A blurry outline gradually appeared. It was the outline of a person. Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy in surprise and said, That can't be me, right? The little boy did not answer. Qin Feiyang looked at the image again. As time passed, the outline became clearer. About 100 breaths later, finally, the outline solidified. A young man in white with flesh and blood appeared in the line of sight of Qin Feiyang and the inner demons. Both of them were dumbfounded, because that young man in white was their physical body. How could this be? The two of them looked at the little boy in surprise. The little boy said, It's the energy of the heart of origin that helped you reconstruct your physical body. Heart of origin? Qin Feiyang and the inner demons looked at each other. What was this? The little boy said, The crystal you see is the heart of origin of the Black Tortoise realm. The heart of origin of the Black Tortoise realm? Qin Feiyang and the inner demons were even more puzzled, because they could not understand at all. What was the heart of origin that the little boy was talking about? The mystery of the heart of origin is not something that people of your level can understand. All you need to know now is that controlling the heart of origin is equivalent to controlling the Black Tortoise realm, the little boy said. Qin Feiyang's gaze trembled. Who exactly are you? Were you the one who asked the heart of origin to help us reconstruct our physical bodies? The inner demons looked at the little boy and said, Me? I've always been in front of you. Did you see me ask it to help you reconstruct your physical bodies? The little boy said. The inner demons frowned. The little boy did not say anything. You will know who I am in the future. As for now, you all have already passed the trial. I believe that the heart of origin should no longer reject you all. After the little boy finished speaking, he waved his little hand, and Qin Feiyong and the inner demons immediately appeared in the hall. That's it? The inner demons were astonished. What else do you want? Qin Feiyong asked. The inner demons said, he should have made it clear. The heart of origins will no longer reject us. What does that mean? Isn't that simple? Since the heart of origin will no longer reject us, we can obtain it, Qin Feiyong said. Yeah. The inner demons shuddered and immediately raised their heads to look at the heart of origins. Their eyes flickered as they urged, quickly go and try it. Qin Feiyong nodded and his consciousness entered his body to stretch his muscles and bones. His physical body was still the same as before. The purple gold dragon blood was still there. Even his Qinkuan bag was reconstructed. Wait a minute. But suddenly, Qin Feiyong's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. What? The inner demons thought that something bad had happened and asked hurriedly, this is impossible. How could this be? Qin Feiyong muttered to himself, turning a deaf ear to the inner demon's words. What's going on? The inner demons shouted. Qin Feiyong raised his head to look at the inner demons and said in disbelief, this physical body, speaking of which, he swallowed his saliva, his face full of shock and ecstasy. Hurry up and tell me, what's wrong with this physical body? The inner demons said anxiously. This physical body, Qin Feiyong murmured and suddenly roared. There's actually the power of a pseudo-god in the energy reserve of this physical body. What? The power of a pseudo-god? The inner demons trembled. Wasn't having the power of a pseudo-god equal to having cultivation? The inner demons urged, hurry up. But before the inner demons finished speaking, a terrifying divine power immediately rushed out from Qin Feiyong's body. It's really divine power. But what's going on? Our cultivation has clearly been completely crippled. The inner demons said in disbelief. Qin Feiyong said, yes, this is what I can't figure out. Suddenly, the two of them seemed to have thought of something. They looked at each other at the same time, and then raised their heads at the same time to look at the heart of origin floating above. Their physical bodies were reconstructed by this heart of origin. In that case, their cultivation must also be related to this heart of origin. Is it you? Qin Feiyong asked. But the heart of origin did not move, nor did it respond. It must be it, the inner demon said, because other than this, there was no other explanation. Qin Feiyong took a deep breath, bowed to the heart of origin and said, thank you. At this time, the inner demons also lowered their arrogant heads and sincerely thanked him. Cultivation was too important to them. Although Qin Feiyong showed an indifferent attitude when he was saving everyone, in fact, his heart had been aching faintly. After all, he had experienced too much along the way. Once his cultivation was lost, all his efforts over the years would be wasted, and he would have to start all over again. Although with his talent, it would not take many years for him to cultivate to the pseudo-god realm again, it would still take time. Therefore, the recovery of their cultivation was simply a great fortune for Qin Feiyong and the inner demons. It was more precious than any treasure or divine item. The two of them finally calmed down. The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyong and said, let me feel the feeling of regaining my cultivation. Okay. Qin Feiyong nodded and his consciousness left his body. The inner demon's consciousness followed into his body. He immediately looked inside his sea of qi. In his sea of qi, the three war souls were still there. But the difference was that there used to be three kinds of battle qi in his sea of qi, but now there were three kinds of pseudo-god powers. The battle qi was in a state of mist. The pseudo-god powers were in a liquefied state, like flowing water. The three pseudo-god powers divided the sea of qi into three parts, each occupying one side. But in contrast, the purple gold dragon aura occupied the largest part, occupying half of the entire sea of qi. The remaining half was divided equally between the red sword aura and the flaming battle qi. Feeling, The purple gold dragon aura was the big brother. The red sword aura and the flaming battle chi were the little brothers. Feeling the terrifying aura of the three pseudo-god powers and the majestic power in his body, the inner demons couldn't help but clench his hands together. Boom! A terrifying divine power broke out of his body again. Then, the inner demons punched the ground. Boom! The ground did not break. On the contrary, his arm was numb from the shock. But even so, the inner demons couldn't help but roar, his face full of excitement. So this is the feeling of regaining something you lost. One word, cool. 2 words, it feels fucking good. He laughed loudly. That's only 2 words. Qin Feiyong was stunned. Hey, the inner demons grinned. But then, he raised his eyebrows, looked at Qin Feiyong, and said, let me tell you, you are not allowed to use the 4th move of the Divine Dragon technique in the future, otherwise I will not let you off. After all, this body is not only yours, but also mine. Chapter 1664. Unless it's a last resort, who would be willing to use such a divine art? Qin Feiyong was speechless. Not even if it's a last resort, the inner demon said angrily. Okay, I'll listen to you. Qin Feiyong was helpless. The inner demon's expression finally eased. Next, the inner demons left the body, and Qin Feiyong entered the body. Then, the two of them raised their heads at the same time and looked at the heart of origin. The inner demon said, my lord, why don't you try again? Why don't you go? Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes. The inner demon said, didn't that kid hear that the one who passed the test was actually you? I'm just basking in your glory. Qin Feiyong was speechless. We are the same person to begin with. Why do we have to be so clear about it? At this time, we have to be clear about it. If this heart of origin doesn't acknowledge me, then wouldn't we be in trouble again? The inner demon said, that seems to be the case. Qin Feiyong nodded. Hurry. When you get the heart of origin, the entire black tortoise realm will be ours. The fire dragon and the giant python want to trap us to death. Dream on. The inner demons urged. Qin Feiyong exhaled, jumped, and landed in front of the heart of origin. Then, he slowly reached out his hand and poked the heart of origin with his fingertip. After waiting for a while, he didn't see any reaction from the heart of origin, so he mustered up his courage and grabbed the heart of origin. He was quite nervous. However, after a while, there was still no movement from the heart of origin. At this time, he heaved a sigh of relief, grabbed the heart of origin, and landed next to the inner demons. The inner demons hurriedly said, quickly try and see if you can leave the black tortoise realm. Qin Feiyong was stunned. What's wrong? The inner demons were confused. Qin Feiyong said, although I don't know what the heart of origin is, I can imagine that if you want to control the heart of origin, you must first recognize a master. How? Could it be that it recognizes its master by dripping blood like a divine weapon? The inner demons said, how would I know? Qin Feiyong was helpless. However, he could still give it a try. A strand of false divinity energy surged out and slit his wrist. Purple gold dragon blood immediately appeared and dripped onto the heart of origin. Wong. Immediately, the heart of origin emitted a blazing light. All of the purple gold dragon blood that dripped onto it was absorbed by it. However, Qin Feiyong, did not feel the slightest hint of success. What happened? Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. Can't I? The inner demons asked. Qin Feiyong nodded. The inner demon said angrily, since it can't recognize a master by dripping blood, why does it still absorb the purple gold dragon blood? They don't even know how to recognize a master. What 2 pigs? But suddenly, the familiar voice of the little boy sounded in the hall. The two of them hurriedly looked over and saw the little boy standing in the left corner of the hall, looking at them with a pair of mocking eyes. We don't even know what the heart of origin is. How would we know? How can we recognize a master? The inner demons said angrily, don't make excuses for your stupidity. The little boy despised them. My bad temper. The inner demons flew into a rage out of humiliation. They rolled up their sleeves and were ready to fight. Calm down. Qin Feiyang hurriedly stopped them and transmitted his voice. Can't you see? This child is not simple. You're simply courting death by shouting at him. The inner demon's eyes trembled, and they immediately suppressed their anger. Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy and smiled apologetically. My inner demons have a bad temper. Please forgive me. Inner demons are all like this. It's understandable. The little boy glanced at the inner demons and looked at Qin Feiyang as if he was an old man. Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked in surprise, You know the inner demons very well? I don't know them well. Back to the topic, this heart of origin is not an ordinary object like a divine weapon. So the way to recognize a master is different, the little boy said. An ordinary object like a divine weapon? Qin Feiyang and the little boy were stunned. A divine weapon was just an ordinary object in the eyes of this child? Oh my God! Just what kind of background did this little brat have? Qin Feiyang calmed himself down and asked humbly, Then how does it recognize a master? There is only one way for the heart of origin to recognize a master, and that is to gain its approval. If it recognizes you, it will take the initiative to merge with your soul, the little boy said. Qin Feiyang said, What if it doesn't recognize me? A sly look flashed in the little boy's eyes, and he said, It will directly erase your soul. What? Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Wouldn't erasing one's soul mean death? This was simply a huge gamble. That's right. This is a huge gamble. If you win, you will get the Black Tortoise realm and step onto the peak of life. If you lose, you will lose your life and become dust, the little boy said. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang lowered his head, his eyes full of struggle. The inner demons hesitated for a while, looked at the little boy and frowned. He has already passed the test. There shouldn't be too much of a problem, right? Wrong. The test is my test for you. It has nothing to do with recognizing a master, the little boy said. The inner demon said, But you just said that the heart of origin won't reject us anymore? That's right. I'm not wrong, because it doesn't reject you now. Otherwise, how could it be in your hands? But rejection is one thing, and recognizing a master is another. Don't mix them up, the little boy said. Qin Feiyang and the inner demons looked at each other. They didn't expect that a mere recognition of a master would have such a big risk. The little boy said, Answer me. Are you going to recognize a master or give up? The inner demons glanced at the little boy, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, You decide? Qin Feiyang looked at the inner demons, gritted his teeth, looked at the little boy and said, I'm willing to take this gamble. You're really brave. There was a trace of admiration in the little boy's eyes. With a light wave of his little hand, the heart of origin immediately turned into a stream of light, entering the top of his head and into his sea of consciousness. The inner demons immediately became nervous. Qin Feiyang was the same. This was because he could clearly feel that the heart of origin was slowly moving around his soul. It was as if it was examining its soul. Suddenly, there was a sharp pain in his mind. He felt as if his soul was being torn apart by the heart of origin. Even Qin Feiyang couldn't bear this kind of pain. He couldn't help but scream, and his face instantly distorted. You didn't get recognition? The inner demons was stunned. They quickly looked at the little boy and said, Let's give up. Let the heart of origin out. Since you've made a choice, you have to face it bravely. Do you want to be a coward? The little boy said indifferently, Don't talk to me about principles. I don't understand. Let the heart of origin out immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The inner demon said angrily. There's no turning back, the little boy said expressionlessly, but in the depths of his eyes, a hint of disdain for the inner demons flashed. Bastard, I'll kill you. The hostility that the inner demons had been suppressing all this time suddenly erupted. He took a step forward, carrying a monstrous murderous aura, and slapped at the little boy. You're really going to attack me? The little boy was stunned. His eyes suddenly turned cold as he stared at the inner demons and said, This is the worst decision you've ever made in your life. As soon as he finished speaking, the little boy took a step forward and appeared behind the inner demons in an instant. What a fast speed! The inner demons turned pale with fright. With his current strength, He actually couldn't capture the trajectory of the little boy behind him. It felt as if he had teleported. Without waiting for him to turn around, the little boy raised his small arm and pointed his index finger in the air. Boom! A terrifying aura burst out from the ground. The inner demons was instantly enveloped by the aura of death. He couldn't help but tremble. He couldn't help but feel despair. He felt that the child behind him was like a god of death. It made his hair stand on end. Chapter 1665. Little brother, stop it. At this moment, Qin Feiyang opened his eyes and hurriedly looked at the little boy. The little boy was slightly stunned. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked in confusion, I'm clearing the inner demons for you now. Shouldn't you be grateful to me? Why are you stopping me instead? In the eyes of the world, the inner demons are ominous things, the embodiment of evil. To be honest, I used to want to get rid of him, but after getting along with him, I realized that he is actually no different from us. And now, he has become a part of my life. Qin Feiyang glanced at the inner demons and smiled at the little boy. This body. Hearing these words, the inner demons stared at Qin Feiyang in a daze. There was an indescribable feeling in his heart. A part of my life. The little boy muttered to himself and slowly lowered his arm. Looking at the inner demons, he said lightly, You are very lucky to have met such a body. Cherish it. This time, the inner demons did not refute. Wait a minute. Suddenly, he was stunned and looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Wasn't Qin Feiyang in great pain before? Why did he seem to be fine now? Could it be that he had succeeded in recognizing him as the master? That's right. Yes, I have succeeded in recognizing him as the master. Qin Feiyang looked at the inner demons and said with a smile. The inner demons were overjoyed and asked, Then why did you scream just now? I said you were stupid, but you didn't admit it. Although the heart of origin is merged with the soul, it is not merged with the entire soul, the little boy said disdainfully. Yes, I screamed just now because the heart of origin split my soul. As for the strand of soul that was split off, it fused with the heart of origin. This is how the heart of origin recognizes its master, Qin Feiyang said. I see. The inner demons were enlightened. To be honest, he was really frightened previously. He thought that the heart of origins was going to erase Qin Feiyang's soul. Otherwise, he wouldn't have attacked the little boy. Of course, if he hadn't attacked the little boy, he wouldn't have known that the little boy was hiding such a terrifying technique. Originally, he and Qin Feiyang both thought that this little boy didn't have much strength and only had a terrifying background. But the result was the exact opposite. They could not figure it out either. How could a child who was only 3 or 4 years old possess such terrifying strength? Qin Feiyang looked at the little boy and asked, May I ask, where do you live and who are your parents? Don't ask what you shouldn't. A cold light flashed in the little boy's eyes. He said expressionlessly, I have successfully recognized you as my master. I should also take my leave. See you again. After saying that, the little boy instantly disappeared without a trace. Leaving just like that? The inner demons were stunned. Don't tell me you want to treat him to dinner? Qin Feiyang was speechless. The inner demon smiled embarrassedly and asked suspiciously, Do you think this little brat is the child of the creator of miracles? Otherwise, how could he have such terrifying methods? Qin Feiyang thought for a while and nodded. It's possible, because this black tortoise realm was created by the creator. The little boy could enter and leave the black tortoise realm at will, so it must be related to the creator. But he didn't understand. If the little boy was really related to the creator, then he must also know small beast, giant python, and fire dragon. But why did small beast, giant python, and fire dragon want to harm him, but the little boy wanted to help him? Could it be the little boy and small beast were not on the same side? The more he thought about it, the more confused Qin Feiyang's mind became. He rubbed his forehead and temporarily put this matter aside. The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Is the heart of origin in your sea of consciousness now? Qin Feiyang nodded. The inner demons urged, Then quickly take a look and see if you can touch the devil imprint. His expression was rather nervous. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. With a thought, the heart of origin immediately rushed out from between his eyebrows, emitting a hazy divine light. However, he didn't know how to control it. He tentatively grabbed the heart of origin and placed it on the devil imprint on his chest. Buzz. Suddenly, a ray of divine light emerged and entered the devil imprint. The next moment, under the excited gazes of Qin Fei Yang and the inner demons, the devil imprint actually dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye. Really? The inner demons was stunned and overjoyed. You really didn't deceive me. Qin Fei Yang was also overjoyed. The mysterious person in the soul-sealing valley was still somewhat honest. Since the devil imprint can be removed, then it can definitely leave the Black Tortoise realm, the inner demon said excitedly. Indeed. Just now, when the master recognition was successful, my perception was infinitely magnified. The entire Black Tortoise realm could clearly see it, including Zhuge Mingyang outside, as well as those mortals, beasts, wild beasts, and so on. Even my perception penetrated the Black Tortoise realm and saw the miraculous scene outside, Qin Fei Yang said. So powerful? The inner demons were surprised, and Qin Fei Yang nodded. The inner demons hurriedly said, Let me take a look. Qin Fei Yang put away the heart of origin and his consciousness left his body. The inner demons immediately got into his body and then closed his eyes. Sure enough, as Qin Fei Yang said, the moment he closed his eyes, his perception began to expand infinitely at an astonishing speed. Zhuge Mingyang and the desert outside the door, as well as the storm in the desert, immediately appeared in front of his eyes. His perception was still expanding. Soon, his perception passed through the entire desert and entered the mountains and rivers outside. He was like a ghost, wandering between heaven and earth. The four forbidden areas, mountains and rivers, humans and beasts, all entered his sight one by one. Moreover, whatever the people of the world were doing and saying, he could clearly see and hear. This feeling was very strange. He felt that at this moment, he was the ruler of this world and could dictate the fate of any living being. There was even a kind of confidence that with just a thought, he could erase a pseudo-god beast. Finally, his perception passed through the Black Tortoise realm and entered the miraculous scene outside. In front of him was an endless sea of fire. Waves of fire rolled, and a terrifying high temperature enveloped all directions. This land was like a big furnace. The inner demons looked at this scene in surprise. Wasn't this the place where they entered the Black Tortoise realm? Can I come out with just a thought? The inner demons muttered. Immediately after, his thought moved. Swish. The next moment, he and Qin Fei Yang both appeared above the sea of fire. Can I really come out? The inner demons were stunned. Qin Fei Yang also had a look of surprise. Boom. Crack. But the next moment, in the sky, the wind suddenly surged, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. A terrifying rule force descended. Rule force? Damn it, it's the giant python causing trouble again. The inner demons was furious. No, this rule force is a bit different from the rule force controlled by the giant python. This rule force is stronger. Qin Fei Yang said. You mean, it's that small beast? The inner demons were bewildered. It shouldn't be. With the strength of the small beast, to deal with us, it doesn't need to use rule force at all. Qin Fei Yang shook his head. Then what's going on? The inner demons looked at the descending rule force, and their eyes were filled with confusion. I know. Qin Fei Yang suddenly said. What? The inner demons quickly asked. It should be because of our cultivation base. Now that we've broken through to the false god realm, once we leave the Black Tortoise world, the rule force will send us to the second layer, Qin Fei Yang said. Yes, I actually missed this point. But when the willow tree left the Black Tortoise world, why wasn't it sent to the second layer? The inner demons was stunned and puzzled. It must be because of the devil mark. Quickly go to the Black Tortoise world, Qin Fei Yang urged. Yinwei, Wang Zicheng, and the others had not been found yet, so they definitely couldn't go to the second layer. The inner demons waved their hands, and the two immediately appeared in the main hall. In the main hall, everything was calm as usual. The inner demons scanned the main hall and asked, Do you think this main hall is also a terrifying divine tool? This. Qin Feiyang pondered and didn't say anything. To be honest, it was really hard to judge. According to the sturdiness of the main hall, it should be a divine tool. However, there was another possibility. This main hall might have been tempered by divine power, or it might be because of the heart of origin that it was so sturdy. In other words, this main hall was very likely to be a very ordinary building. Qin Feiyang said, "Look at what Zhuge Mingyang is doing." The inner demons closed their eyes. The scene outside immediately appeared in front of them. A moment later, the inner demons opened their eyes and sneered. Not only did he activate his battle soul, but he also activated his innate ability. He should be planning to catch us off guard when we go out. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent and said, "This person must be eliminated. Leave this matter to me. You go to the inner world and stay there first. Let me have some fun outside." The inner demons laughed. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly and instantly disappeared into the space between his eyebrows. "Zhuge Mingyang, today is the day you die." The inner demon's eyes flashed with a cold light. He withdrew his aura and stepped across the main hall, appearing a few miles behind Zhuge Mingyang. Now, he could go anywhere in the Black Tortoise realm with just a thought. Boom. The moment he left the main hall and the stone tablet in front of the main hall collapsed, dust billowed, and turned into ruins. The sudden change shocked Zhuge Mingyang, who was standing in front of the main hall, and he quickly retreated with his battle soul. At the same time, in the ancient castle, Willow Tree and the others were also surprised. Fatso and the others heard the movement and hurriedly got up and looked at the screen in surprise. "What's going on?" Lu Hong asked. "We don't know either." The main hall and the stone tablet suddenly collapsed. Willow Tree said, "Then where's little Qinzi?" White-Eyed Wolf said, "I don't see young master." Willow Tree shook his head. Everyone stared at the ruins. The main hall collapsed, and Qin Feiyang must be under the ruins. Hey, Zhuge, what are you looking at?" "I'm here." Suddenly, a laugh sounded behind them. Qin Feiyang. Zhuge Mingyang trembled. He turned around abruptly and looked in the direction of the voice. He saw Qin Feiyang standing on a sand dune with his arms crossed in front of his chest. He was looking at him with a mocking expression. Zhuge Mingyang's face was full of disbelief. When did he come out of the main hall? Chapter 1666. Willow Tree and the others in the castle looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. But more than that, they were happy. These days, because they were worried about Qin Feiyang's safety, they had been in a state of anxiety. If it weren't for their strong minds, they would have collapsed. Therefore, at this moment, seeing Qin Feiyang come out alive, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. However, what followed was also a lot of doubts. How did Qin Feiyang come out? One had to know. Not only Zhuge Mingyang, but also they had been staring at the door of the hall. From the beginning to the end, the door had not been opened. White-Eyed Wolf looked at Qin Feiyang in the picture, raised his eyebrows and said, "No, he is not little Qin Zi, but the inner demons." Listening to the laughter, Fat Lord already knew that it was the inner demons. However, since the inner demons appeared, the boss must be fine, Fatso said with a smile. Everyone nodded. Outside, Zhuge Mingyang looked at the inner demons and frowned. "When did you come out?" "Just now," the inner demons said. "Just now?" Zhuge Mingyang frowned more and more. Did this guy come out by opening the portal? But it seemed that the portal couldn't be opened in the desert. And Qin Feiyang was now a disabled person, so he couldn't open the portal. At this moment, the inner demons didn't have the slightest aura of cultivation from head to toe, just like an ordinary person. Of course, he was deliberately teasing Zhuge Mingyang. "Surprised, aren't you? You were waiting outside just to catch me off guard. But in the end, you didn't show off. Are you very angry now?" The inner demons sneered. "Yes, I'm very angry now. But answer me, can you withstand my wrath in your current state?" Zhuge Mingyang sneered and charged towards the inner demons with a terrifying demonic aura. "Save the young master!" Ning Mingi shouted. Willow Tree waved his hand. "Ning Mingi, Chui Li, Li Yun, and Willow Tree himself immediately appeared above the inner demons. Following closely, the four of them unleashed their auras, and their quasi-divinity energy gushed out, rushing towards Zhuge Mingyang. It's best that all of you come out, lest I have to deal with you one by one. Zhuge Mingyang let out a maniacal laugh. The grayish-white power of the false god emerged and roared in the sky. Rumble, Willow Tree, and the other three's false god powers were instantly shattered. The four of them turned pale. They quickly looked at the inner demons and said, "Young master, let's go to the castle." The inner demons, however, turned a deaf ear to him. They laughed and waved their hands. Rumble, in the sky, a terrifying power of the rules came crashing down. This is, Willow Tree and the other three were shocked. How could the young master control the rule force? Zhuge Mingyang looked at the rule force with a look of horror. What was going on? What did he get in the main hall? Rumble. The rule force fell, and its aura firmly locked onto Zhuge Mingyang. No matter where Zhuge Mingyang escaped, the rule force would follow. That terrifying aura caused his body to crack continuously, and blood flowed out like a fountain. In the nick of time, Zhuge Mingyang entered the Space Divine item. With a loud bang, the rule force blasted on the Space Divine item, but it didn't shatter it. Young master, you! Willow Tree and the other three flew to the side of the inner demons, their faces full of shock. Step aside. But before the four of them finished speaking, the inner demons shouted coldly. They glanced at the place where Zhuge Mingyang disappeared, and their eyes were extremely hazy. Yes, the four of them hurriedly retreated behind the inner demons. The inner demons sneered, "Come out. What's the point of hiding?" Swish. Zhuge Mingyang appeared in the opposite void and said in a deep voice, "What did you get? You can control the rule force of a miracle." Wrong. I'm not controlling the rule force of a miracle, but the rule force of the Black Tortoise world. The inner demons said, "The rule force of the Black Tortoise world. Could it be that you've already controlled the Black Tortoise world?" Zhuge Mingyang's face was full of disbelief. Yes. The inner demons nodded. How is this possible? Zhuge Mingyang roared. The inner demons waved his hand, and another rule force fell. He sneered. Isn't this the best proof? It can't be. Zhuge Mingyang looked at the rule force and shook his head frantically. But Willow Tree and the others were incomparably excited. The Black Tortoise world had fallen into the young master's hands? Did that mean that the young master could now help them remove the devil mark? Not to mention the devil mark, just the Black Tortoise world being controlled by the young master was already something worth celebrating. I don't believe it. Zhuge Mingyang suddenly roared, and the Bone Dragon Battle Soul roared in the sky. With its innate ability, it bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced toward Qin Fei Yang. Young master, be careful. Willow Tree hurriedly shouted. The inner demons smiled disdainfully, and the rule force blasted toward the Bone Dragon. Boom. The Bone Dragon wailed and shattered on the spot. Puff. Zhuge Mingyang spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale. Come, kill me. But Zhuge Mingyang was even crazier. He ignored his injuries and directly pounced toward the inner demons. I don't believe that you're really immortal. The inner demon's bloody eyes were as cold as a blade. Roar. Accompanied by a loud dragon roar, a purple gold divine dragon rushed out from behind him. This is Purple Gold Dragon Soul. Willow Tree and the other three were dumbfounded. Zhuge Mingyang was also stunned. Didn't Qin Fei Yang lose his cultivation? How could he still activate his battle soul? Emperor Prison. The inner demons roared. A monstrous dragon aura and emperor aura erupted between heaven and earth. A divine prison immediately appeared. It's an innate ability. He didn't lose his cultivation. Zhuge Mingyang muttered and roared. You bastard. You actually lied to me. Despicable, shameless. Lie to you? There's really no need for that. The inner demon smiled contemptuously. The divine prison fell, and Zhuge Mingyang was immediately imprisoned in the void, unable to move. Immediately, the inner demon shouted to Willow Tree and the other three, Go and kill him immediately. Yes. The four responded respectfully, and immediately rushed toward Zhuge Mingyang with monstrous killing intent. Kill me? With just you guys? Zhuge Mingyang smiled proudly, and a terrifying demonic aura burst out of his body. The Emperor Divine Prison had been torn apart. Qin Feiyang, there's still a long way to go. Let's wait and see. Zhuge Mingyang smiled coldly and did not continue to fight. He immediately entered the divine space item and drove it away. The inner demons released their divine sense and rushed toward the divine space item. It's divine sense. We're not dreaming. The young master's cultivation has really recovered. Willow Tree and the other three were overjoyed. Very quickly, the inner demon's divine sense locked onto the divine space item, and then took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of the divine space item. This speed is even faster than teleportation. Ning Mingi was shocked. You don't understand. The young master controls the black tortoise world. He can go anywhere with just a thought. Willow Tree laughed. Ning Mingi couldn't help but smile bitterly when he heard this. Not only did he recover his cultivation, but he also obtained the black tortoise world. Such luck and opportunity was really enviable. In my world, where can you ask for it? The inner demons looked at the divine space item with ridicule in his eyes. Boom. Rays of rule power continued to fall, forming a cage that was dozens of feet wide, trapping the divine space item. Bang, bang, bang. Zhuge Mingyang drove the divine space item and crazily hit the cage. However, although his divine space item could withstand the bombardment of rule power, it couldn't break the rule power. However, although Zhuge Mingyang was trapped, the inner demon's face was a little ugly. Because according to the current situation, he didn't have the ability to break the divine space item. If he couldn't break the divine space item, then there was no way to kill Zhuge Mingyang. Willow Tree and the other three flew over and looked at the inner demons. Young master, why don't you try using the castle? Castle. The inner demon's eyes flickered and nodded. Okay, call out all the false gods for me immediately. Okay. Willow Tree responded and immediately entered the castle. Not long after, Yu Huang, Li Yun's woman, Zhao Tailai, and the Grand Deacon and Ling Yunfei's divine space item all appeared with the Willow Tree. Greetings, young master. More than 100 false gods bowed in unison. The inner demon shouted, Revival Castle, break his divine space item for me. Yes. Everyone responded respectfully. Swish. Before his voice died away, Zhuge Mingyang appeared in the cage. There was a hint of anxiety on his face as he asked, Brother Qin, are you really going to kill them all? What? Are you finally afraid? It seems like it's just as we expected. Your undying demon technique is only effective on me. In other words, no matter how many times I kill you, you will revive. But if someone else kills you, you will completely disappear. The inner demon sneered. Hearing this, Zhuge Mingyang's face darkened slightly. I didn't expect you to see through it so quickly. So? The inner demon said, So I must die in your hands, because only then can I become stronger. By the way, I'll tell you one more time. If I die again, I can step into the war god realm. Zhuge Mingyang sneered again and again. You won't have a chance. The inner demon's eyes turned cold, and a ray of rule force suddenly fell, penetrating the cage, and blasted towards Zhuge Mingyang. Zhuge Mingyang disappeared in an instant. Clang. Boom. The rule force immediately blasted the divine space item that was exposed outside. A wave of destructive energy gushed out like a volcanic eruption. The cage was smashed into pieces. The moment the cage was smashed, Zhuge Mingyang appeared like lightning and rushed towards the inner demons at an astonishing speed. Stop him. Don't let him come near me. The inner demons shouted. Ning Mingi and the others immediately went forward. Willow Tree even used the castle as a brick and smashed it towards Zhuge Mingyang. Do you think you can stop me? Zhuge Mingyang laughed. Divine light burst out from under his feet, and his speed suddenly increased by several times. He easily passed by Willow Tree and the others and rushed to the inner demons and punched towards the inner demon's head. Even the inner demons didn't have time to react to this sudden increase in speed. He instinctively raised his arm and met Zhuge Mingyang's fist with his palm, and the false god's power roared out. Zhuge Mingyang smiled as if his plan had worked. He loosened his fist and took the initiative to meet his death. Oh no! The inner demons came back to his senses and quickly retracted his arm. Seeing this, Chapter 1667. Crack. Immediately, Zhuge Mingyang's heart shattered, his entire chest caved in, and flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Looking at Zhuge Mingyang, who was slowly falling down, the inner demons were stunned. Willow Tree and the others were also dumbstruck. All of a sudden, the inner demons came back to their senses and shouted, "Quickly check if he's dead. We can't let him die in my hands." Willow Tree immediately swooped down, caught Zhuge Mingyang, and then lay flat in the void to check on Zhuge Mingyang's injuries. A great enemy is in front of us, but we can't kill him? This is so fucking frustrating. The inner demons roared angrily, then rushed to Willow Tree's side and asked, "How's the situation?" "He's not dead yet. He's just seriously injured and fainted." Willow Tree looked up at the inner demons and said in surprise, "Not dead?" The inner demons was stunned. "I think he has underestimated the strength of his current physical body. Last time, he ate the divine meat of the giant python with us, and the strength of his body has been greatly improved. And just now, in a moment of desperation, you also held back some of your strength, so you didn't kill him in one blow." Willow Tree analyzed. "Haha, the heavens are really helping me." The inner demons couldn't help but laugh. Zhuge Mingyang didn't die in his hands, then everything was fine. On the contrary, Zhuge Mingyang overreached and fell into a coma, which was equivalent to being a fish on the chopping board, at their mercy. The inner demon's eyes flashed with killing intent, lowered his head to look at Zhuge Mingyang and said, "You didn't expect that, right? You didn't die even though you wanted to, but instead put yourself in a real desperate situation." Now that Zhuge Mingyang was unconscious, Willow Tree and the others next to him could easily kill him. If he died in the hands of Willow Tree and the others, then Zhuge Mingyang would not be able to be reborn. The so-called undying demon art was nothing more than an empty shell. The inner demons said, "Kill him." Willow Tree nodded. The power of the false god emerged in his palm as he slapped toward Zhuge Mingyang's head with all his might. However, at this moment, Zhuge Mingyang, who had fainted, suddenly opened his eyes. Two beams of grayish-white light shot out from his eyes. Following closely, he raised his arm and punched out, colliding with Willow Tree's palm. Bang! Willow Tree was knocked back on the spot, blood gushing out of his mouth. On the other hand, Zhuge Mingyang looked as if nothing had happened. He stood still in the air. The inner demons raised an eyebrow and looked at Zhuge Mingyang. "Are you pretending?" "Hee." Zhuge Mingyang smiled but said nothing. But that laughter made the inner demons and the others' scalps tingle, because Zhuge Mingyang's voice had changed. It became hoarse and old, as if he was a different person. And if one looked carefully, his eyes had also changed, filled with a sense of vicissitudes and coldness. "What's going on?" Willow Tree and the others looked at each other. Zhuge Mingyang glanced at the Willow Tree group and looked at the inner demons. "Let your original body come out." The inner demons said in shock and anger, "You are not Zhuge Mingyang. Who are you?" Zhuge Mingyang said, "When your original body comes out, this old man will naturally tell you." The inner demons raised an eyebrow, and his consciousness entered the inner world. Qin Feiyang's consciousness also entered the body. He looked at Zhuge Mingyang and said, "Say it." Zhuge Mingyang said, "Do you know where the mermaid princess and Linny are?" "What?" Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled, and he said in surprise, "What do you want to say?" Zhuge Mingyang said, "They are this old man's last disciples. They are now cultivating in seclusion somewhere, and they are probably about to become gods now." "Last disciple?" Qin Feiyang's body shook, and he said angrily, "Who the hell are you?" Zhuge Mingyang said, "It doesn't matter who this old man is. What matters is the mermaid princess and the others. What do you want to do?" "Last disciple? Is it really that simple?" Qin Feiyang shouted. "Yes, it's that simple. In order to train them, this old man has spent a lot of effort. Tell me, shouldn't you be grateful to this old man?" Zhuge Mingyang laughed hoarsely, his eyes full of ridicule. Qin Feiyang said gloomily, "So it was you who took them away?" "No, no, no. They left with this old man willingly. Of course, this old man also admits that I did use some dirty tricks. Zhuge Mingyang said proudly. Where are they now? Qin Feiyong said. They are fine now, don't worry about them. Also, this old man guesses that there is someone you will be interested in. Zhuge Mingyang said again. Who? Qin Feiyong frowned. Zhuge Mingyang said, Your grandfather. Grandfather. Qin Feiyong's eyes suddenly trembled, and he stepped forward to grab Zhuge Mingyang's clothes and shouted, What about my grandfather? Don't you think it's strange? Why have you never seen your grandfather when you went to the Liu family several times? And why are the people of the Liu family unwilling to give you a direct answer whenever you ask? Zhuge Mingyang said with a smile. Qin Feiyong said in a low voice, I have seen through this long ago. You don't need to remind me. Just tell me, what happened to my grandfather? Zhuge Mingyang said playfully, How can this old man answer you when you grab me like this? Qin Feiyong looked gloomily at Zhuge Mingyang, and then let go of his hand. Zhuge Mingyang tidied up his wrinkled clothes and said with a smile, You won't find the answer you want in Miracle. I don't want to listen to nonsense. Just tell me. Qin Feiyong clenched his hands and said angrily, Young man, how can you be like this? Don't you know that you should be nicer to the elderly? How can this old man tell you when you are like this? Zhuge Mingyang said unhappily. Qin Feiyong took a deep breath, loosened his fingers, and said with a smile, Is this okay? Can you tell me now? Smiling is considered a good attitude? This old man can do that too. Zhuge Mingyang grinned and smiled very brightly. Qin Feiyong's anger suddenly became uncontrollable. This person was obviously deliberately playing with him. Forget it. I won't tease you anymore. If you want to know the answer, go to the reincarnation ocean after you leave Miracle, Zhuge Mingyang said. Reincarnation ocean? Qin Feiyong was stunned, lowered his head, and frowned. He remembered that his mother also disappeared in the reincarnation ocean. Could it be related to this? Reincarnation ocean. What secrets were hidden in it? Whoosh. Suddenly, Qin Feiyong looked up at Zhuge Mingyang and said, Are you done? If you are, it's time to send you to hell. This is what this old man is going to say next. Don't kill Zhuge Mingyang. Because if Zhuge Mingyang dies, even if you search the entire reincarnation ocean, you won't find anything, Zhuge Mingyang said. Qin Feiyong's eyes darkened and asked, What do you want me to do? Ensure Zhuge Mingyang's safety and follow him to the second level of the godly site to do something. As for what it is, when you reach the second floor, Zhuge Mingyang will naturally tell you. Remember, if he loses a single hair, this old man will settle the score with you. After Zhuge Mingyang finished speaking, he closed his eyes and fainted again, falling down. Willow Tree looked at Zhuge Mingyang, looked at Qin Feiyong and asked suspiciously, Young master, what's going on with him? Is it a possession? It's not a possession, because if it's a possession, Zhuge Mingyang's consciousness will be devoured. But now, Zhuge Mingyang's consciousness is still there. I think it should be some old monster hiding in his body, Qin Feiyong said in a deep voice. Old monster? Everyone looked at each other, their eyes full of surprise. Ning Mingi said, Then what do we do now? What else can we do? Save him, Qin Feiyong said angrily. Okay. Ning Mingi quickly flew down and caught Zhuge Mingyang, took out a healing pill and a heart protection pill, and fed them to Zhuge Mingyang. The healing pill and heart protection pill were naturally given to everyone by Ling Yunfei. You still want to save him? How annoying. Looking at Zhuge Mingyang, who was gradually getting better, Qin Feiyong couldn't help but feel angry. Willow Tree said carefully, Young master, I have a question, but I don't know if it's appropriate to ask. Speak. Qin Feiyong said, What's the situation with Linny, the mermaid princess, and your grandfather? Why are you so passive? Willow Tree was suspicious. Li Yun and others were also puzzled. Qin Feiyong rubbed his forehead and said, It's a long story. You can ask Fatso and the others. They all know. Willow Tree and others nodded. After a while, Zhuge Mingyang finally woke up. He stood in the void, glanced at Willow Tree and others, and then looked at Qin Feiyong, frowning. Why am I not dead? You're lucky. Qin Feiyong snorted coldly and said, Who is the old man lurking in your body? Old man? Zhuge Mingyang was taken aback, and then showed a look of realization. He smiled and said, I see. It seems that Master has come forward. Master? Qin Feiyong was surprised. He didn't expect that Zhuge Mingyang and the mysterious old man were actually master and disciple. Zhuge Mingyang asked, Did Master tell you anything else? Qin Feiyong nodded. Zhuge Mingyang grinned and said, Then let me interview you. How do you feel now? What are you proud of? If it weren't for your master, you would be a corpse now. With your brain, I really don't understand why the old man would take a fancy to you. He even accepted you as his disciple. Qin Feiyong said disdainfully, Whatever you say, I don't care. I only know that the women you care about the most are now my junior sisters. Master also said that when everything is dealt with, he will betroth them to me. You can rest assured that I will take care of them for you. Zhuge Mingyang teased, You're courting death. Qin Feiyong's eyes suddenly surged with murderous intent. Kill me if you have the ability. Zhuge Mingyang raised his neck with a fearless look on his face. You're powerful, aren't you? Okay. Then you can slowly return to the undead mountain range alone. Qin Feiyong sneered and disappeared without a trace with the willow tree group. What do you mean? Zhuge Mingyang was stunned. Returning to the undead mountain range alone? The next moment, a monstrous anger rose from his body as he roared, Qin Feiyong, you bastard. You actually left me here. Believe it or not, I will ask Master to kill Lin Yi and the others, one should know. It took him almost a year to come here from the undead mountain range. Moreover, they were still rushing on without stopping to rest. In other words, it would take him a year to go back now, or even longer. After all, there was no one to take care of him on the road. He had to walk alone in this desert for a year, without anyone to talk to. Just thinking about it, he couldn't help but collapse and go crazy. However, no matter how he roared and threatened, Qin Feiyong did not appear again. He regretted it. Why was he so impulsive? Why didn't he wait until he left the desert and then yell at Qin Feiyong? Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Chapter 1668. At the same time, Qin Feiyong and his group landed in the sky above a square. Aeon City? Li Yun and the others stood in the square, scanning the surrounding buildings, their faces full of shock. This was too fast. In the blink of an eye, they actually came to Aeon City from the deepest part of the desert? Young Master, now you are equivalent to the master of the Black Tortoise world. Then the fire dragon, the giant python, and the small beast, can they still break in now? Ning Mingi asked. Qin Feiyong was taken aback. He really hadn't thought about this question. Logically speaking, without my permission, they can't break in. But what? Everyone looked at him nervously. Although this Black Tortoise world is an independent small world, in some aspects, it is actually the same as a spatial divine object. If the other party's strength is strong enough, it will be difficult to stop him. The fire dragon and the giant python, I'm basically sure that they won't be able to come in again. But the small beast, it's really hard to say, because its strength is too terrifying. It has mastered the power of law. Qin Feiyong said. Heard about it. Everyone's heart sank. But you don't have to worry too much. The small beast went to the third floor. It shouldn't appear again. As for the giant python and the fire dragon, they didn't pose a threat to us before, and now they can't hurt us. Qin Feiyong said. Makes sense. Everyone nodded. Qin Feiyong looked at the willow tree and said, Give me the castle. Okay. The willow tree waved its hand, and the castle immediately flew out from between its eyebrows, flew in front of Qin Feiyong, and erased the blood contract. Qin Feiyong stretched out his hands and held the castle in his hands, secretly swearing that no matter what, he would not lose the castle again. Whoosh! After he dripped a drop of blood on it to claim ownership, the ancient castle disappeared into his glabella. With a thought from Qin Feiyong, Fatso and the others, as well as the white-eyed wolf and the other beasts, appeared one after another. What are you doing? Fatso looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyong said with a smile, What else? Of course, it's to remove your demon imprints. Can I? Everyone was stunned and asked. Of course. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he took off the clothes covering his chest. Everyone looked over and was pleasantly surprised to find that the devil mark on Qin Feiyang's chest had disappeared. The group of people instantly became excited, especially Ning Mingyi, Li Yun, Chui Li, and Willow Tree. Their bodies couldn't help but tremble. Lu Zhang glanced at Ning Mingyi and the others, then suddenly looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Little cousin, come here for a moment." After saying that, he soared into the air and flew out of the city. Qin Feiyang followed him suspiciously. The two of them, one in front and one behind, arrived in the sky above the plains outside the city. "What's wrong? Why are you being so mysterious?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Lu Zhang said, "Do you know that the slave imprints on Willow Tree and the others have disappeared?" "You're talking about this. When they were resurrected, I already knew that the slave imprints didn't come with them," Qin Feiyang said with a smile. "How can you still laugh? Do you know how big of a hidden danger this is?" Lu Zhang said angrily. "Hidden danger? Aren't you thinking too much? Isn't everyone quite amiable now? Look at Willow Tree. The ancient castle is on him, and I don't see him having any bad thoughts. And just now, when I asked him to return it to me, he didn't say anything and just gave it to me," Qin Feiyang said. Lu Zhang said, "I've seen Willow Tree's loyalty and have never doubted it, but you'd better restrain Ning Mingyi and the others." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "Think about it. They have already reached stage 10 of the false god realm. Once the devil imprints are removed, they will immediately break through and become real war gods." Lu Zhang said in a deep voice, "That's a good thing. They will be of great help to us when they step into the war god realm." Qin Feiyang said, "Yes, it's indeed a good thing, but at the same time, it's also an extremely risky thing. Think about it, when they break through to the war god realm, without the restriction of the slave imprints and the devil imprints, will they still be respectful to you and listen to you? Let me tell you, a false god is different from a war god. How can someone who has stepped into the war god realm willingly submit to others, especially when your cultivation is lower than theirs?" Lu Zhang sneered. Qin Feiyang's expression stiffened, and he muttered, "They won't do such an ungrateful thing, right? After all, I was the one who let them be reborn. Don't be naive. Don't you know the cruelty of cultivation?" Lu Zhang snorted coldly. Qin Feiyang fell silent. After a while, he said, "Then what do you think we should do? Either we use the slave imprint to control them again, or we don't help them remove the devil imprint. In short, we have to control everything in our own hands. This way, we won't be afraid of accidents. Of course, I'm not saying that we have to control them forever. After confirming that they really don't have any ulterior motives, just like the willow tree, we can remove the slave imprint." Lu Zhang said. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, "You're right, we can't let our guard down. We can take this opportunity to test them." "Kid, you're quite smart." Lu Zhang laughed. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly. The two turned around and quickly returned to the square. Lu Zhang silently walked to Lu Hong's side. Qin Feiyang stood in front, glancing at Ning Mingyi and the others, and said with a smile, "You'll be able to remove the devil imprint soon. Are you very excited?" "Of course." Willow Tree nodded. Ning Mingyi and the others were also full of smiles. "Removing the devil imprint is a small matter, but I have a question to ask you, and I hope you can answer me truthfully," Qin Feiyang said. "Young master, please ask," Willow Tree said. Qin Feiyang said, "If I say that I want to use the slave imprint to control you again, will you be willing?" Everyone was slightly stunned. "It doesn't matter." Willow Tree was the first to react, but Ning Mingyi and the others hesitated. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply and said disappointedly, "If you were like Willow Tree and didn't hesitate at all, I wouldn't control you anymore." "So you were testing," Willow Tree suddenly realized, turned around to look at Ning Mingyi and the others, and coldly snorted. "So you have other thoughts? Young master exhausted his cultivation to save you. You really don't know how to be grateful." "It's not like that," Ning Mingyi quickly said. "Then what is it? You guys are really good at acting. When young master saved you, what did you say? Swear to follow and never betray." Since you all swore to follow young master, then why are you afraid of the slave imprint? Since you're afraid, doesn't that mean you still have other thoughts? Willow Tree angrily said. Everyone lowered their heads in silence, their faces full of shame. I was right. Actually, what are you thinking? I know. Once the devil imprint is removed, you rank 10 false gods can immediately step into the war god realm. War gods still have to work for others. Just thinking about it makes you feel unreconciled, right? Willow Tree coldly sneered. These words were exactly what Ning Mingi and the others were thinking. Lu Jing secretly sneered. Little cousin, did you see that? This is the human heart. Sigh. Qin Feiyang let out a long sigh, looked at Ning Mingi and the others and said, a forcibly picked melon is not sweet. I won't force you guys. Those who are willing to stay, come to my side. Yu Huang said, what if they don't want to stay? Even if they don't want to stay, I will still help them remove the devil imprint and send them out of the black tortoise world. Qin Feiyang said, young master has already done his best. You guys think about it carefully. Willow Tree looked at Ning Mingi and the others and said, then strode to Qin Feiyang's side. This emperor thinks that following Qin Boy will have a bright future. Yu Huang chuckled and also ran to Qin Feiyang's side. Ning Mingi, Li Yun, and the others looked at each other, unable to make up their minds. You used your cultivation to save them? Was it worth it? Inner demons saw this scene in the inner world and angrily said, it was worth it. At least Willow Tree and Yu Huang stayed by my side. There is a good saying, friends are not many, but understanding. In this life, being able to make a few close friends is already very good. Qin Feiyang laughed. Nonsense. The inner demon snorted through its nose. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, looked at Ning Mingi and the others and said, it seems that this is your choice. Forget it. Do as you wish. After saying that, he waved his hand, and the heart of origin appeared, passing through the hearts of the group of people one by one. Ning Mingi and the others hurriedly checked their hearts and were pleasantly surprised to find that the devil mark had really disappeared. Thank you, Brother Qin. If there is a chance, I, Li Yun, will definitely repay your kindness today. Li Yun bowed and said, it's nothing. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and then waved his hand, and the people of Fengtian Palace immediately disappeared. Because Li Yun's words were enough to represent his decision to leave the Black Tortoise realm. Ning Mingi glanced at Lu Zhang and the others, took a deep breath, looked at Qin Feiyang and bowed. This is the last time I call you young master. Young master, take care. Take care. Qin Feiyang smiled. Young master, wait. Suddenly, Zhao Tailai ran in front of Qin Feiyang and said, I want to stay. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Zhao Tailai, what are you doing? Ning Mingi said angrily. Zhao Tailai said, only by following the young master will I have a chance to avenge Xi Ming. You guys go. You're confused. Ning Mingi said angrily. Lu Zheng sneered. The Vanga League no longer exists. He is no longer one of your people. If he wants to stay, it is his freedom. What can you do? Ning Mingi glanced at Lu Zhang, looked at Zhao Tailai, and said, are you sure you want to stay? Zhao Tailai nodded. Young master, I have also decided to stay. At this time, Chui Li, who was standing in the crowd, gritted his teeth and stood out, looking at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang was surprised. Ning Mingi glanced at Chui Li, then looked at Zhao Tailai, and said angrily, idiot, idiot, all idiots. Immediately, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, send us out. His attitude changed in an instant. Not only did he not have the slightest respect, but it also made people feel that Qin Feiyang owed him millions. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the group of people from the Vangu League immediately disappeared. Fatso stepped forward and patted Zhao Tailai and Chui Li on the shoulder, and said with a smile, Old Zhao, old Chui, believe in Fat Lord, you made the right choice? Zhao Tailai and Chui Li looked at each other and smiled, looked at everyone and said, then in the future, please take care of us. Since you are staying, you are one of us. Taking care of you is necessary. White-eyed Wolf laughed. Lu Hong and the others were also smiling. Chapter 1669. Boom. Suddenly, A terrifying divine power rushed out of Zhao Tailai's body. Qin Feiyang and the others were taken aback for a moment before their faces were filled with ecstasy. This was a sign that Zhao Tailai was about to break through. Quickly retreat, Qin Feiyang shouted. Whoosh! The group of people suddenly rushed into the sky and left Aeon City. Zhao Tailai was also surprised. He sat cross-legged on the ground and closed his eyes. Boom! Crack! Above the sky, the wind gradually blew, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. What's going on? Could it be that he also has a heavenly tribulation? White-eyed Wolf said in surprise. This is just a vision of becoming a god, not a heavenly tribulation. Only someone like my little cousin, who defied the heavens and became a god, would have a heavenly tribulation, Lu Zheng said. Not necessarily. Zhuge Mingying also defied the heavens and became a god, but why didn't he have a heavenly tribulation? Qin Feiyang said. Lu Zheng asked, Did you see him become a god with your own eyes? Although I didn't see it with my own eyes, if there really was a heavenly tribulation, the beasts in the Devil's Land would definitely have sensed it, and there would also be traces of the heavenly tribulation on the ground. But at that time, the Vanga League and Fengtian Palace investigated, but they didn't find any relevant information. Doesn't this mean that when he became a god, there was no heavenly tribulation? Qin Feiyang said. Then I don't know. Lu Zheng shook his head. Boom. Zhao Tailai's aura was also getting stronger and stronger. Aeon City had already begun to crack and collapse. Even the earth within a radius of tens of thousands of miles began to tremble violently. Abyssal cracks continued to appear and spread towards the end of the world at an astonishing speed. Boom. About 10 breaths passed. Aeon City had been razed to the ground and no longer existed. Accompanied by an even more terrifying aura, Zhao Tailai's body was suddenly enveloped in endless divine light. It was an extremely pure divine light without any impurities. Boom. Following closely, streaks of black divine power rolled out of his body like a tide, exuding a destructive aura. Roar. The next moment, following a loud roar, a huge ferocious beast soared into the air from behind him. It was a Qilin. It had the head of a lion, the antlers of a deer, the eyes of a tiger, the body of an elk, and the scales of a dragon. However, unlike the fire Qilin, its entire body was as black as ink and was surrounded by black flames. This is an ink Qilin. Lu Zheng was shocked. Did not expect that this Zhao Tailai actually activated the divine beast battle soul. There were many types of Qilins: fire Qilin, blood Qilin, snow Qilin, ink Qilin, and so on. Among them, the fire Qilin was the rarest. Although the ink Qilin was inferior to the fire Qilin, it was still a type of Qilin and was a supreme divine beast. Those who possessed such a fighting soul were extremely rare. The black Qilin raised its head and roared. Black flames covered the sky. Very soon, its aura also began to transform. A pure aura of a divine beast was emitted. Meanwhile, in the sky, wisps of auspicious light fell and merged into the glabella of the black Qilin and Zhao Tailai. This is the gift of becoming a god. It's said that after merging with this auspicious light, the person who becomes a god will be able to manifest a spirit. The fighting soul can also break out of its cocoon and evolve into a body of flesh and blood, born from my consciousness, Lu Zheng said. A body of flesh and blood? Isn't that equivalent to a true divine beast? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. That's right. However, even if it evolves into a body of flesh and blood, it's closely related to its master. When the master dies, the fighting soul will be annihilated as well. Lu Zheng said. Qin Feiyang said, what if it's a weapon soul or a fighting soul? For example, my crimson sword soul and the 9-leaf fire lotus? Lu Zheng said, they'll solidify as well? That's amazing. If a weapon soul solidifies, doesn't that mean it's a true divine weapon? The white-eyed wolf said in surprise. That's right. Lu Zheng nodded. There are so many benefits to becoming a god. The others exchanged glances. Their desire to become a god grew. When the auspicious light merged with Zhao Tailai and the black Qilin's foreheads, the phenomenon in the sky quickly dissipated. Zhao Tailai opened his eyes as well. His dark eyes shone with a divine light. They were like two bottomless pits that sucked in one's soul. Did it work? Qin Feiyong landed in front of Zhao Tailai and asked. "MHM," Zhao Tailai nodded. He recalled his fighting soul and said, "Now, all that's left is to fuse with the auspicious light." Qin Feiyong asked, "How long will it take to fuse with it?" "No one in the Black Tortoise realm has ever reached the War God realm. That's why I don't know." Zhao Tailai shook his head. Lu Zheng appeared out of thin air and said with a smile, "It won't take long. 2 or 3 months at most." "That long?" Zhao Tailai was surprised. 2 or 3 months. Is that long? Lu Zheng was speechless. He said, "If you think it's too long, you can go to your cousin's castle. A day outside is 10 days inside. 2 or 3 months will pass in no time." "All right." Zhao Tailai nodded. He then said, "Ning Mingi and the others should have become true gods by now. Young master, I think you should control them by force." "Why?" Qin Feiyong looked at him curiously. "Think about it. Li Yun, Ning Mingi, and those deacons and elders have all reached rank 10 false god realm. If you control them, you'll have more than 20 war gods under your command." "What kind of concept is that?" Zhao Tailai said. "Brother Zhao is right. With more than 20 war gods, as long as that small beast doesn't appear, we can basically sweep through the divine ruins." Chueli flew over and nodded. "Don't think of the divine ruins as a simple matter. It's impossible for just 20 war gods to do it." Lu Zheng said. "MHM?" Zhao Tailai and Chueli looked at Lu Zheng in surprise and asked, "Young master, do you know a lot about the divine ruins?" "Not really, but I know a thing or two. Even war gods might not be able to survive the 2nd floor, let alone the legendary 3rd floor." Lu Zheng said. Zhao Tailai and Chui Li's pupils suddenly shrank. Although they had been in the divine ruins for so many years, they had always been in the Black Tortoise world and had never been to the 2nd floor. Even so, it's still a pity to let Ning Mingi and the others go just like that. Zhao Tailai said, "If it's not yours, you can't force it. There's nothing to pity. Besides, do you really think that without the restriction of the devil mark, they can live freely after leaving the Black Tortoise world?" Qin Feiyong sneered. "Young master, what do you mean?" Zhao Tailai was surprised. "That's right. The fire dragon and the giant python won't let them go. Leaving the Black Tortoise world means death for them. Even if they don't die, their days will be very difficult." Qin Feiyong said, "They deserve it. They don't deserve sympathy." Willow Tree coldly snorted. The white-eyed wolf said, "Little Qinzi, can you see if they're still outside?" "They shouldn't be. When the inner demons and I were still in the main hall, we already went out. As soon as we went out, the principal force wanted to send us to the 2nd floor." Qin Feiyong pondered. "Already went out?" The white-eyed wolf was taken aback. "Then after we went out, where do we end up?" "The place where we first entered the Black Tortoise world," Qin Feiyong said. The white-eyed wolf's eyes lit up and urged, "Quickly take us out to have a look." Zhao Tailai and Chueli also had a look of yearning. "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded and looked at Zhao Tailai. "There's a volcano outside. Old Zhao, create a divine barrier to protect everyone." Although they would be sent to the 2nd floor if they went out now, as long as they brought everyone into the Black Tortoise world in time, they would be fine. Hearing Qin Feiyong's words, Zhao Tailai waved his hand and a barrier suddenly appeared. Then, Qin Feiyong led everyone out of the Black Tortoise world and descended above the sea of fire. Boom! As soon as they appeared, they felt a terrifying divine power. What's going on? The group of people was surprised and quickly scanned their surroundings. Their expressions were suddenly stunned. They saw that Ning Mingi, Li Yun, and the others were still here. What's going on? Why weren't they sent to the 2nd floor? Qin Feiyong was suspicious and looked up at the sky. Even if he and Willow Tree came out now, there was no principal force. "Boss, what's going on?" Fatso asked suspiciously. "I don't know either." Qin Feiyong shook his head and looked at Ning Mingi and the others again. Ning Mingi, Li Yun, Li Yun's wife, as well as the deacons and elders, were all sitting cross-legged on the ground at this moment, exuding a shocking divine power. In the sky, there were also strange phenomena. Obviously, These people were also breaking through. As for the other false gods, they surrounded Ning Mingi and the others with vigilant looks on their faces. They had already noticed the appearance of Qin Feiyang and the others at the first moment. However, there was no longer any respect in his eyes. On the contrary, they looked at Qin Feiyang as if they were guarding against a thief. Looking at the eyes of those people, Qin Feiyang felt quite uncomfortable. Anyway, he was the savior of these people. Even if they parted ways now, there was no need to guard against him like this, right? When others faced their savior, they would usually repay evil with kindness. But this group of people repaid kindness with evil. How ridiculous. Time passed bit by bit. Ning Mingi and the others successfully broke through one after another and stepped into the true war god realm. Li Yun stood up, restrained his aura, looked at Qin Feiyang, and said with a smile, "Brother Qin, this should be the first time you've seen so many people become gods together." And Qin Feiyang nodded. Ning Mingi also stood up and said with a high and mighty attitude, "Witnessing us become gods with your own eyes is also an opportunity for you." Fatso raised his eyebrows and said, "Why don't you say that it's a fortune?" Fortune? Wasn't this clearly humiliating Qin Feiyang? Ning Mingi said with a smile, "It's not an exaggeration to say that it's a fortune. Everyone, am I right?" The deacons and elders nodded one after another, their faces full of smug smiles. Now, they were all war gods. Qin Feiyang was only a false god. War gods and false gods were completely from two different worlds. Therefore, they no longer took Qin Feiyang and the others to heart. Willow Tree glanced at the group of people, his eyes full of disgust, and said, "Look at your faces now. You're a typical villain intoxicated by success." Chapter 1670. Touch me. You even dare to humiliate the young master who saved your life. Is there anything you don't dare to do? Tell me the truth. I, Willow Tree, have never seen a villain like you in my entire life. Willow Tree sneered. Ning Mingi's eyes darkened as he said word by word, "Say it again if you dare." "So what if I said it? Ungrateful. Do you still think you're right?" Willow Tree shouted. "You're courting death. I'm now a war god. Killing you is as easy as crushing an ant." Ning Mingi said with a sinister smile. "Even if you break through to the war god level, you can't hide your vile heart." Willow Tree sneered. "Looks like you really want to die." Ning Mingi's eyes were filled with killing intent. "Brother Ning, calm down." Li Yun reached out to stop Ning Mingi. She looked up at Qin Feiyang and then at Willow Tree and said, "Actually, saving us is what Brother Qin should do." "What? Saving you is what I should do?" Willow Tree was stunned. Fatso and the others' mouths twitched. They couldn't figure out how someone could say such a thing so naturally. "We were killed by the small beast because we followed Brother Qin. Shouldn't Brother Qin save us?" Li Yun asked. "Fuck. So fucking shameless. If you didn't follow boss, you would have died in the hands of the fire dragon and the giant python." Fatso couldn't help but shout. "Didn't we fight against the fire dragon and the giant python because of Brother Qin? In other words, if Brother Qin didn't instigate us, would we do this? For this, I lost 3 sons. Brother Ning's 2 sons were also killed. I think the price we've paid is already big enough. Although my words will make you all very angry, they are the truth, right?" Li Yun smiled. "Li Yun, you're going too far." Zhao Tai frowned. "Too much? Although our black tortoise world is constantly in conflict, we have never offended the protectors. But because of Qin Feiyang's arrival, everything became a mess. The person you should be blaming now is him, not me. Furthermore, your daughter died because of him," Li Yun said. Zhao Tai frowned. He felt disgusted with Li Yun and the others in front of him. "Old Zhao, don't waste your breath on them." Fatso waved his hand and looked at Li Yun and the others. He said calmly, "Actually, after saying so much, it's nothing more than saying that you've already obtained your freedom and don't need to ask boss for help anymore. Why do you have to be so hypocritical?" "Fatso, it's rare for you to finally speak human words. You're right. If they hadn't removed the devil mark and left the black tortoise world now, would they dare to be so presumptuous? I'm afraid they can't wait to curry favor with us." The white-eyed wolf joked. Lu Hong and the others, as well as the double-winged snow eagle and the other beasts, looked at Li Yun and the others with ridicule. The faces of Li Yun and the others were quite gloomy. The atmosphere here was very solemn. Enough. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang, who had been watching coldly from the sidelines, spoke, breaking the atmosphere here. You used me to obtain your freedom, and I used you to obtain the Black Tortoise world. It can be considered as each taking what he needs. So there's no need to push all the blame on me, because this will only make you look particularly funny, especially ridiculous, like clowns, Qin Feiyang said calmly. His expression was neither sad nor happy. He looked like he didn't care at all. Hearing these words, the faces of Li Yun and the others turned green and red, and they looked very ugly. Qin Feiyang looked at Li Yun and smiled faintly. To be honest, I used to admire you very much. You're straightforward and not sloppy, but now that I see your face, I know that I was wrong in the past. In fact, you're more hypocritical than the people of the Vangu League. Li Yun's face darkened. Okay, let's say goodbye here. I hope that the next time we meet, we won't be enemies. Take care of yourselves. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he was ready to lead everyone into the Black Tortoise world. What a waste of time. But suddenly, an angry voice sounded in the sky. Giant Python. Qin Feiyang's pupil shrank. He looked up and saw the giant python and the fire dragon appear out of thin air in the void above. Willow Tree and the others immediately became vigilant. When Li Yun, Ning Mingi and the others saw the giant python and the fire dragon appear, their expressions changed and they said angrily, "Didn't you go to the third level with the small beast?" It was because they thought that the giant python and the fire dragon also went to the third level with the small beast that they dared to run out. To the third level? The giant python and the fire dragon were stunned. Then they looked at Ning Mingi and the others as if they were looking at idiots. The giant python said contemptuously, "You will never understand how terrifying the third level is. In today's world, only the Creator and the Beast God dare to enter. As for us, we can only walk around the door." "It's so dangerous," Qin Feiyang murmured. The giant python glanced at everyone and shook its head. "I thought that you would fight, but after waiting for a long time, I didn't see you do anything. How boring." Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned. "You controlled the power of the rules, so they weren't sent to the second level?" "Of course. Other than me, who else can control the power of the rules of the miracles?" As soon as they came out of the Black Tortoise realm, I had already sensed it and came here immediately. When I heard their discussion and knew that they had fallen out with you, I thought of a plan. The plan was to let them stay here and break through to the War God realm. When you came out and saw them, you would definitely fight. But I didn't expect you to be so tolerant. They humiliated you like this, but you didn't do anything? The giant python said, looking extremely angry. "It's not that I can tolerate it, it's that I don't care. Because fighting with people like them will dirty my hands," Qin Feiyang said indifferently. "On this point, this sovereign agrees with you. I sacrificed so much to help them regain their freedom, but what did they do? Not only did they not know how to be grateful, but they even mocked you. To be honest, even I sympathize with you." The giant python laughed. "And then?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Then, this sovereign will teach them a lesson on your behalf. These people who don't care about morality are just wasting air by living." The giant python's eyes were filled with killing intent. Boom. The next moment, waves of power of the rules fell from the sky and locked onto Ning Mingi and the others. The group of people changed their expressions and quickly counterattacked. But there was no suspense. Except for Ning Mingi and the others who had broken through to the War God realm. The other fake gods were instantly killed by the power of the rules. Not even a strand of hair was left. "How terrifying," Zhao Tailai murmured. Without the ancient castle and a divine artifact like Chang Shui, even if they broke through to the War God realm, it was impossible to resist the power of the rules. Ning Mingi and the others also tried their best to resist, but it was to no avail. The power of the rules continued to fall. Any means, such as battle souls, divine power, and divine arts were disintegrated one after another. A sense of despair shrouded their hearts. Li Yun was bleeding all over and shouted anxiously, "Brother Qin, Quickly help us. Fatso and the others were stunned. He actually asked them for help? Where was his shame? The giant python looked at Qin Feiyong and said with a smile, I believe you won't intervene now. Go ahead. Qin Feiyong smiled indifferently. Brother Qin, we were wrong. We are bastards. Please, for the sake of us fighting side by side, please help us. Not only Li Yun, the deacons, elders, and even Ning Mingi kept begging. The young master helped you get rid of the devil mark because you fought side by side. But how did you repay him? Now you still want to ask the young master to help you. Is it possible? Willow Tree sneered with a gloating face. Hearing this, the group of people suddenly regretted it. You won't save us, right? Then don't blame us for being ruthless. Ning Mingi roared. Willow Tree and the others were stunned again. Didn't they turn hostile long ago? And they still turned hostile? Sure enough, they were a group of shameless old men. Ning Mingi looked up at the Guardian and shouted, Lord Guardian, please let us go. We are willing to work for you to eradicate Qin Feiyong. Yes, we have all broken through to the War God realm. With our help, killing him is as easy as turning your hand. Li Yun and the others also hurriedly shouted, Haha! The giant python and fire dragon looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh. Lord, what are you laughing at? The group of people was suspicious. Willow Tree said, I'm laughing at your stupidity. That's right. Would the dignified guardian care about war gods like you? I'm afraid that in their eyes, you are not even as good as ants. Only you will take yourself seriously. Fatso and the others also mocked. Even Zhao Tailai couldn't help but sneer. You think that breaking through to the war god realm is so awesome, but in fact, you are just a few self-righteous clowns. Damn it. Hearing that, Ning Mingi and the others suddenly felt as if they had fallen into a bottomless abyss. Sure enough, you are not on the same level as Qin Feiyong. No, you are not even as good as the people around him. Because even the people around him can guess what we are thinking, and you can't guess it? You are so stupid that you are cute. If you are Qin Feiyong, this lord will definitely agree without hesitation and spare you. Unfortunately, you are not Qin Feiyong. This lord also doesn't want to keep a group of idiots around me, because idiots usually can't do anything right, but are good at spoiling things. The most important thing is that you are a group of white-eyed wolves. What if one day you bite this lord? At that time, this lord won't even have a place to cry. Moreover, you have eaten this lord's flesh, which is absolutely unforgivable. The giant python's face was full of disdain. With a flash of murderous intent in its eyes, the rule force suddenly fell. No, young master, we were wrong, really wrong. Save us. We will be your cattle and horses. The group of people roared in despair, and even their intestines were green with regret. However, Qin Feiyong still had a cold face, without even a trace of sympathy. Rumble. Accompanied by a series of shrill screams, the group of people were bombarded by the rule force one after another, and not even their bones were left. Zhao Tailai shook his head and sighed. They have just broken through to the war god realm and haven't even experienced the taste of being a war god, but they were already killed by the guardian. I think they must be very unwilling. They only have themselves to blame. Even death can't wipe out their crimes. Qin Feiyong said expressionlessly. Chapter 1671. The giant python's methods shocked everyone. A few dozen divine gods of battle were killed as easily as slaughtering dogs. With such strength, without a heaven-defying artifact like Chang Shui, it was indeed difficult to compete with it. The giant python turned its gaze and looked at Qin Feiyong. Young master, be careful. Zhao Tailai hurriedly stood in front of Qin Feiyong. Don't be nervous. If it wanted to attack me, it wouldn't have waited until now. Qin Feiyong waved his hand. Even if the giant python really wanted to attack him, he was not afraid. Although Chang Shui was gone, there was still the ancient castle and now the Black Tortoise realm. So, unless Small Beast came in person, it was almost impossible for the giant python to kill him. He believed that the giant python was also very clear about this point. The giant python looked at Qin Feiyong and said with a smile, "How are you going to thank me for killing these unscrupulous fellows for you? Qin Feiyang said, "If you can return Wang Yu to me, I will really be grateful to you and even become friends with you." Haha, friend? Are you worthy of being my friend? The giant python's eyes were full of ridicule and said, "If you want me to hand over Wang Yu, you have to give me something in exchange. What do you want?" Qin Feiyang said. The giant python said word by word, "The ancient castle, the black tortoise realm, or your life. You have a big appetite, but unfortunately, I won't give you any of these things." Qin Feiyang said. The giant python said, "So, you don't care about Wang Yu's life?" "I do." Qin Feiyang said. "Then what are you hesitating for?" The giant python said angrily. Qin Feiyang said, "I didn't hesitate. I've already said it very clearly. I won't give it to you. It seems that you really don't care." The giant python laughed sinisterly. "I care." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Are you playing with me? Since you care about Wang Yu, then why are you still guarding those worldly possessions?" The giant python said angrily. "My life isn't a mere worldly possession, is it? As for the ancient castle and the black tortoise world, although they are mere worldly possessions, they are of great significance to me," Qin Feiyang said. "Let's not talk about the castle for now. You've just obtained the black tortoise world. What does it mean to you?" The giant python frowned. "A beast like you won't understand," Qin Feiyang said lightly. "Without the black tortoise world, he would be sent to the second layer. At that time, he would not be able to find Yin Wei, Wang Ziqing, and the others. Wang Ziqing aside, let's focus on Yin Wei. All these years, Yin Wei had been lurking by the imperial tutor's side. God knows how many hardships he had gone through. If something happened to Yin Wei in the miracle, his conscience would be condemned for the rest of his life. You still dare to insult me? You really don't know the meaning of death." The giant python's eyes were as gloomy as water. "Did I insult you? You are an animal," Qin Feiyang said. "Impudent. You really won't cry until you're in the coffin." The giant python was furious and shouted, "Fire Dragon, get Wang Yu out for me." "Yes." Fire Dragon nodded. The void in front of him shook, and a beautiful figure immediately appeared. Who else could it be but Wang Yu? "Feiyang, don't worry about me." As soon as Wang Yu appeared and saw Qin Feiyang, she immediately shouted, "Shut her up." The giant python shouted. Fire Dragon immediately activated his divine power and sealed Wang Yu's mouth. Qin Feiyang glared at the giant python and said, "Let her go. Let's have a fair fight." "Do you think I'm that idiot, Fire Dragon? I have a bargaining chip in my hand, but I don't use it. Why would I fight you one-on-one? Is there something wrong with my head?" The giant python sneered. Fire Dragon raised his eyebrows and glanced at the giant python. A trace of hostility flashed in the depths of his eyes. Qin Feiyang sneered and said, "If you don't dare, then you don't dare. Why do you have to say so much nonsense?" The giant python was not angry and said indifferently, "I'll give you a choice now. Either you give me the castle or the black tortoise realm, or you collect Wang Yu's corpse." Qin Feiyang looked at Wang Yu. Woo-woo. Wang Yu shook her head desperately. Her pale face was also full of anxiety. Although he did not know what she was saying, as long as he was not a fool, he could see that she was telling Qin Feiyang to ignore her. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed and said sadly, "If you had listened to me and killed Wang Yuanshan back then, how would this have happened?" Wang Yu calmed down, and her eyes were full of pain. Although she could not say it, everyone knew how she was feeling at this moment. In fact, it was not her fault. It was Wang Yuanshan who did not change, and she was also very upset. The giant python said impatiently, "Don't put on a sad show here. Quickly hand it over." Qin Feiyang said coldly, "If you dare to touch a hair of her, I will make you pay the price." "Haha, you actually dare to threaten me. It seems that you still don't understand the situation." The giant python laughed wildly, and a wisp of divine power emerged and entered Wang Yu's lower abdomen. Puff. Immediately, a bloody hole appeared, penetrating from the front to the back, and blood spurted out like a pillar. Wang Yu's face was distorted by the pain. Qin Feiyang clenched his hands. "This seems to be more than just hurting a hair of hers, but what can you do to me?" The giant python looked down at Qin Feiyang mockingly. Qin Feiyong was silent, his eyes flashing with shocking killing intent. Don't look fierce, it's useless in front of me. The only way is to hand over the castle or the Black Tortoise realm. I will count to 3. If you don't hand it over, then I will collect her corpse. No. I'm afraid there won't even be a corpse left. 1, 2, 3. The giant python was in high spirits, as if everything was under its control. However, just as the word 3 left its mouth, a sudden change occurred. The fire dragon's eyes suddenly surged with killing intent. It took Wang Yue away, raised its giant tail, and slapped the giant python's back fiercely. Moreover, it used all its strength. Puff. It was caught off guard. The giant python immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. The snake scales on its back were all shattered, and its flesh was a mess. A few of the divine bones on its back were also broken. Qin Feiyong and the others were surprised. What was going on? The fire dragon actually attacked the giant python? The giant python was also dumbfounded. The fire dragon suddenly roared, Qin Feiyong, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and do it. As soon as it finished speaking, it raised its giant tail again, and divine power surged out, smashing toward the giant python's head. Qin Feiyong shuddered and sent Fatso and the others to the ancient castle, leaving only Zhao Tailai, Willow Tree, Cui Li, and Yu Huang. After all, this was a battle between war gods. Fatso and the others couldn't interfere at all. Instead, they would implicate everyone. Immediately after, Qin Feiyong took out the ancient castle, and 3 types of fake god power poured out, entering the ancient castle, and the ancient castle immediately entered a state of revival. Zhao Tailai, Willow Tree, Cui Li, and Yu Huang also immediately activated their divine power and fake god power to revive the ancient castle. Boom! The ancient castle's aura immediately soared crazily. Although only Qin Feiyong and the others revived the ancient castle this time, the speed of revival was several times faster than the previous time when more than 100 fake gods were revived at the same time. All of this was because of Zhao Tailai's divine power. Divine power and fake god power were on completely different levels. Fake god power could only barely revive divine artifacts, but divine power was enough to revive them. Let's kill together. Qin Feiyong roared and rushed into the sky like a bolt of lightning, his killing intent soaring to the heavens. In the blink of an eye, high up in the sky, the giant python finally came to its senses and suddenly turned around to stare at the fire dragon's raised giant tail. It was immediately furious and roared, "How dare you offend your superior? Humph! If it weren't for that incident back then, you wouldn't be the guardian." The fire dragon snorted and smashed its dragon tail down crazily. A large part of the void was annihilated. You're courting death. The giant python was unable to restrain its anger and raised its tail. Boom! The 2 giant tails collided with a loud bang and shattered at the same time with a crack. Divine blood dyed the sky red. What? Qin Feiyong and the others were shocked. They had always thought that the giant python's strength would be stronger than the fire dragon's. After all, the giant python was the guardian. But they never expected that the 2 beasts were actually on par. Good chance. Zhao Tailai secretly shouted. That's right. Qin Feiyong nodded. A cold light flickered in his eyes as he activated the walk formula and instantly landed behind the giant python. Then, he grabbed the ancient castle and smashed it on the giant python's head. Roar! The giant python immediately wailed in pain as its head was split open. You guys are really unforgivable. The giant python roared in the sky as rule force fell from the sky like a waterfall. You guys block the rule force, I will kill it. The fire dragon shouted. Okay. Qin Feiyong nodded and waved his hand. The ancient castle rushed into the sky and collided with the rule force. Boom! Between heaven and earth, there was a loud explosion. The ancient castle and the rule force continued to collide, and the terrifying aura surged in all directions. What a terrifying divine artifact! The fire dragon's pupils constricted. Roar! The next moment, a scorching sun rose from the fire dragon's back. In the scorching sun, a dragon shadow circled and danced, and the dragon's roar was deafening. That's right. This was the fire dragon's god art. The giant python's eyes trembled as it glared at the fire dragon. Are you serious? Do you think I'm joking right now? The fire dragon sneered, and the dragon's shadow roared out from the blazing sun, carrying with it a world-destroying dragon's might as it pounced towards the giant python. Bastard! The giant python roared as black fog surged around its body. Whoosh! The next moment, a wave of arrows shot out from the black fog, heading straight for the dragon's shadow. The arrows were densely packed. Each arrow was completely black as if it was forged by a divine weapon, exuding a shocking sharpness. Clang! All the arrows bombarded the dragon shadow's body. The dragon shadow was collapsing. The arrows were also collapsing. In the end, it was a situation where both sides suffered. Zhao Tailai said in surprise, "The giant python is also a guardian. Why can't it beat the fire dragon?" It seems that this fire dragon is not simple. And listening to the fire dragon's previous words, it seems that he has some unknown grudges with the giant python, Qin Feiyang said. What words? Yu Huang was suspicious. Didn't the fire dragon just say that if it wasn't for that incident back then, the giant python wouldn't have become a guardian? The two of them are comparable in strength. I think they might have been competitors in the past. Qin Feiyang guessed. In other words, the one who won in the end was the giant python, and the fire dragon has a grudge in his heart? Willow Tree asked. That's possible. Qin Feiyang nodded. After the second confrontation, the giant python and the fire dragon's injuries were even more serious. Blood rained down from the shattered giant tail. Today is the day you die. The fire dragon roared and stared at the giant python, his eyes filled with a bone-piercing, killing intent. Boom. All of a sudden, you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.